Hello, everyone. So good,
Oh,
everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Greetings of peace, greetings of love, greetings of happiness to each and every one of you. And I should say, welcome to all the wonderful leaders, wonderful change makers, the wonderful educators, peace builders, unique souls, unstoppable souls, unbeatable souls, powerful souls, souls with a positive vibe. A big, big welcome to all of you to CHILPARCO International's The Wireless Connect. And we've had a very successful season one where we've had 10 international conferences. And this is the second season that we've started. And this is the very first episode where we are having it in a different way. We're having the wireless debate with all of you distinguished people from all over the globe. And we are looking at wonderful perspectives, solutions, and maybe viewpoints to maybe dwell upon further. And before we begin, I would like our little young ambassador, Mannat, to begin like we always do with seeking blessings from the Almighty. So my dearest Mannat, it's over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. With great respect and profound regards to respected Alka ma'am and all the eminent speakers, myself, Ambassador Mannat Pankular Necha from India, welcome you all to the platform of Wireless Connect Debate Season 2, Episode 1. Heartfelt gratitude to CHILPARCO International for having me here today. Let me start off with a beautiful quote. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and a life without prayer is life without power. With this thoughtful thought, I would like to begin with a small prayer. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tasaviturvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodaya तूने हमें उत्पन्न किया पालन कर रहा है तू तुझसे ही पाते प्राण हम दुखियों के कष्ट हरता तू ओम भूर्भुवः स्वाहा तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् तेरा महान तेज है छाया हुआ सभी स्थान तेरा महान तेज है छाया हुआ सभी स्थान सृष्टि की वस्तु में तू हो रहा है विद्यमान सृष्टि की वस्तु में तू हो रहा है विद्यमान ओम भूर्भुवः स्वाहा तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् तेरा ही धरते ध्यान हम मांगते तेरी दया तेरा ही धरते ध्यान हम मांगते तेरी दया ईश्वर हमारी बुद्धि को तू श्रेष्ठ मार्ग पर चला ईश्वर हमारी बुद्धि को तू श्रेष्ठ मार्ग पर चला ओम भूर्भुवः स्वाहा तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very, very divine. Let me put it this way. And Mannat, you sing so melodiously. That was such a powerful prayer. And it's a universal prayer, actually. You know, you sang the Gayatri mantra, which I feel is so empowering, enriching. And plus, you also added that everyone should be happy all over, everyone should be prosperous, everyone should be healthy, disease free. I think this is what we wish for everyone, for all our brothers and sisters, all our friends, our youngsters, our young children all over the globe. So thank you so much, my dear. And after a little while, we'll soon hear your views also, because I know that you yourself have a lot to tell us. So thank you once again, my dear. So with this, my dearest friends, educators, leaders, change makers, just a little bit about CHILPARCO International. My friend Dhira is here. And the two of us actually, when we began this, we began it as a new age parenting forum. And as we went on with our activities, we just we realized that it is so important to integrate humanitarianism, because we need to catch our children young. And if we have to integrate humanitarianism, and we have to make each and every individual realize their self-worth, because self-worth is important. One's uniqueness is important. One needs to work with their particular unique qualities, spreading smiles, persistence, perseverance, and that never say die spirit. Once a person believes that the person can do something, can achieve something, then one definitely can. So this is the basic brief ideology that we had. Our mission is spreading smiles, connecting the global community through humanitarianism, through communication, through creativity, through connections, through collaborations, and we do it through our various programs. So we have international conferences like the Wireless Connect. We have our shows, the Wit and the Grit show, and Let's Chat Over Coffee. We have Talent Rendezvous for the kids. We have Express to De-Stress, which is a mental wellness program. We have Club Rejuvenata. We have Lounge the Rhythm, which is a platform where everybody showcases music, poetry, theater. And, again, it's a learning experience. There's a lot of exchange of cultural heritage, which we also do, because we have students as well as grown-ups, educators connecting, sharing about their particular country's heritage, and we learning from them, and then we sharing our country's heritage with them. So we have a lot of such programs in addition to our magazine, our monthly magazine, which we call Tenacity. So Tenacity towards a tenacious and timelessness. So basically this month, I will ask Dhira to tell you more about this and what is the theme for Tenacity June-July edition. She will tell you a little later, but for now, I would like to hand it over to Dhira, who will tell us about, our Wireless Connect and the topic for the day. So it's over to you, Ambassador Dhira Madan, who is an edu trainer, who is a leader, an English expert, a communication expert. And not only that, with these qualities, she is also a hotelier, a chef, and did I miss out on something? She's an adventure.
Ma'am, you're too generous. I think that would suffice.
So Dhira, it is over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wireless Connect Season 2. It's been a great opportunity of connecting more than 50 countries of the world, all of them coming together to express their views, to express their thoughts without any judgment being passed on whatever they think. We've been taking up issues which are of day-to-day importance, which are of social significance, which matter to you and me and to the society. And the bottom line for all of us is we are here to make a difference. Even if it's a drop in the ocean, the moment we make a difference, we transform society. And if each one of us, with our thoughts, with our words, with our discussions, with our participation in the Wireless Connect, come together, believe you me, we are going to bring a massive transformation in this world. We hope to have many, many, many seasons, starting with the second season, and each Wireless Connect would have a different approach, would have a different platform. This is the first time we are conducting a debate on the topic whether juveniles should be tried in a court of law as adults. So it is food for thought, and definitely there is no right and wrong. There are always the gray areas, but we would love to hear what your opinion is vis-a-vis our country, India, or vis-a-vis the whole world, the global perspective. The Wireless Connect brings together communities, regions, societies, countries, and we are without any borders. We don't believe in borders. We don't believe in limitations, because as it is rightly said, who says the sky is the limit? We've seen footprints on the moon. Thank you, Dr. Alka. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dheera, for giving a very comprehensive and a very clear picture about our Wireless Connect. And yes, we've had wonderful, I think we've had more than 50 countries participate.
More than 50, definitely.
And our themes have varied. So it's not only been education, it's been everything from media to, sports to mental wellness. We've had it all. And so we keep on trying to reinvent and rediscover, whenever we think of a new topic, whenever we think of a new theme, we try to have something which is of global relevance and have it with the best of the brains from all over the globe. So here you all are with us today, and we are very happy, extremely happy. And so today we have with us, as our very special guest, we have with us Professor Dr. Namita Rajput, who is a posh practitioner, and she's a passionate educator. She works as president with a humanitarian organization, which is her own. I think it is Unheard Foundation. Am I right, Dr. Namita?
Yes,
Yes, it is. And she does a lot of work for women empowerment, because she is empaneled with the Ministry of Child and Women Welfare. So she would have a lot to tell us, as she is the expert in this field. So juveniles should be tried and treated as adults. Dr. Namita Raj, what would your take be on this?
So first of all, my greetings and salutations to all esteemed members who are present here, and especially Anka, who has called me on this dais to share my views on a very important question, that whether juvenile should be treated and tried and tested as adults or not. So starting with the criminality. The criminality, if imputed as per the contemporary times, has been added with the myriad of assets. It certainly has, transcended the attribution of the age for the execution of a crime, and there is no conformity in terms of the age. The crime in youth has become a raise in concern for the criminal justice across the globe. And in being able to discern the reasons or the factors behind juvenile delinquency, the criminologists and the various, astute scholars have dispensed their career in unrevealing the same. So criminality, in terms of the sanctions and the punishments, has been a very thorough jurisprudential debates and warrants the articulation till date. And that is why we are discussing here on this dais. Having said that, it is pertinent to dig deep in order to ascertain how far and till what extent should the juvenile be held liable for the crime they have committed. So, we have seen so many crimes happening, and they are on the cloaking, aspects and the rates. More violent crimes in juveniles, they have started to become a mountaineering concern for the world at large. And there is no exact science or a particular reason which has, deliberating effect on the crimes in youth. The lawmakers at large, they bear a burden of accuracy, and since have been struggling to devise a solution in this regard. The approach towards, determining a liability of youth in crime has been utterly disjunctive. And there have been varied standpoints, if you talk about this question, that whether there should be a juvenile court or should they be treated at par with the adults. The lawmakers have framed, these specialized courts that cater to the complex nuances of the, culpability among the youth. The juvenile courts, for that matter, for the rightful reasons, have tailor-made sanctions that cater to the need of the youth and usually underlie with the lessened penal sanctions. So it is on, this pretext, or perhaps the rationale behind, that is, the youth have not developed the guilty mind, or perhaps they do not possess the necessary framework of the mind to differentiate between a right and a wrong. So should there be no courts is a question. So the supporters of getting rid of the juvenile courts center their arguments on the need to punish the juvenile criminals and concern for the juvenile rights. The juvenile court is founded on the false premise because its purpose is to shield the youth from the consequences of their own actions. The juvenile court fails to deter the juvenile violence. The current juvenile crime problem requires that we punish the juvenile offenders in order to deter the next generation of juveniles from becoming the predators. So the justice demand that the juvenile courts be abolished. If juveniles are tried in the adult courts, they will not be afforded their full array of the constitutional rights. And of course, when you talk about the supporters of getting rid of the juvenile courts center their argument on the need to punish the juvenile criminals and a concern for the juvenile rights. The juvenile court is founded on a false premises because its purpose is to shield the youth from the consequences of their own. And definitely, there are many juvenile court sentences. They have amounted to nothing but a mere slap on the twist for many young offenders. The juvenile court is no longer capable of providing the individualized attention that is first sought out to do and can no longer easily help at risk offenders who are at threats, even after their juvenile sentences. So the laws were first created to handle the small cases like, the shoplifting, the vandalism, etc. And these laws are now, they do not have the ability to handle today's violent crimes. And of course, the rates are increasing at a very fast rate. And for some violent youths, rehabilitation is a very easy way out. Some youths are even known to commit crimes without thought because they know they cannot be tried as adults. So eventually, because of this thought in their mind, they do, more and more of crime. And eventually, many young offenders who go through a juvenile system do not end up rehabilitated. And as a result, they turn back to crime. And in many, jurisdictions, a child may have to commit 10 to 15 serious crimes before anything is actually done to him. Children are killed by children. Teens are killed by teens. And till we refuse to punish them because they're too young to understand that what they are doing is wrong. So an excuse most heard from the parents, it is also an excuse too often heard after the lives are lost and ruined. So without a tougher punishment system, society is left with a very high percentage of delinquents and a rising percentage of the crime victims. So the next is like the criminals must be held accountable. So, for many victims, the juvenile court systems have been a far cry from justice. The families of the murder victims, the rape victims, and the victims of other heinous and the serious crimes have been left abandoned without a sense of closure, a sense of protection. Some feel like, their loss was left unacknowledged. And indeed, in such a lenient juvenile system, the victims are more often than not left unacknowledged. Most people agree with this, particular aspects. The only way to treat the victims as a full human being, to honor the memory of the victim, is to punish the perpetrator. So trying minors as adult will toughen the system, hold someone responsible, and the minors must be fully, culpable for their behavior if we were and we are to deter the future delinquents from committing the violent crimes. So setting this example and making it known that our cities will indeed be very tough on crimes will serve as a wake-up call. And like the 3 strike laws, the threat of a harsh sentence will most certainly make the children, think twice before they commit the violent crimes. And, since 1993, I was reading this topic because I had to give my thoughts on this. So, I came across some good statistics which I would like to share with you. Like since 1993, at least 43 states have passed the laws making it easier for children to be tried as adults. And a juvenile justice bill is certainly awaiting final congressional approval and contains the similar measures for the federal system. And of course, in the words of the California government, if you talk about, there is a decisively to retake the neighborhoods. And if we are to sincerely make an effort to keep our cities safer, if you talk about the America, all of America has to understand that youth may be adults, but they are certainly capable of committing crimes, because we have people here, across the globe. So, let us have some global viewpoints on this also. So, the state of North California concludes that although the transfer status are, constitutionally valid, the imposition of mandatory life sentence in this case is very cruel or, unusual punishment for a juvenile defendants. So the imposition of the mandatory life imprisonment is not a right way to handle a juvenile offenses, because it is too punitive in nature. And a life tainted by a severely harsh punishment breeds nothing productive, and a mandatory life sentence, it diminishes a juvenile chance to reform and become a productive member of a society. Because, as you talk about, the overall, the juvenile system to be tried and tested as adults, we have something good in mind. That is, we have to reform their lives. We don't have to, make their life a burden for them, because there are certain juveniles who are very simple at heart. They are very clear at heart. They don't know what they're doing, or probably they are not very thorough about the consequences. So there are a mixed type of people. So we have to take it individually, take it a very thorough view about the juvenile overall background, that why did he commit the crime and all that, and moving on to unveiling the different issues which were linked with the particular crime. So currently the juvenile bind over system is very skewed. According to a law office of a Daniel Marguis, a bind over cases, he defines that a transfer of jurisdiction to adult court, which is called a bind over case. This means that a juvenile matter will now be handled as an adult criminal matter, and the juvenile is subject to adult criminal penalties. This was way back in 2019. So, as and when we are moving on, the laws are being reformed, and people have a mixed opinion that we should move in for rehabilitation programs and make their life very good, and they should understand what they have done. So should the juveniles be tried as adults? There is a opposing view also. Like currently the criminal courts are trying about 2 lakh juveniles per year as per statistics. It claims that many individuals among the community, they believe that the juvenile offenders do deserve to be treated as adults and belong in the adult prisons. So because the juvenile justice system as it stands is incapable of handling such a large number of violent juvenile cases, so it is a matter of debate and it is a matter of discussion that to what extent we have to punish them, to what extent we have to reform their lives, to what extent we have to see the violence as far as their background is concerned, etc. So there is no arguing that this issue of whether juveniles should be tried in adult courts need addressed, and a new process needs to be put in place to better care of the juveniles thrown into the criminal justice system. So just winding up my discourse in just 2-3 minutes, the juvenile that have committed the crimes still deserve a treatment consistent with their age. The first step is to change the issue, is to remodel and renovate or renovate the current juvenile justice system and rehabilitation system. This plan needs to improve, currently, the detection centers, the level of acceptability of the crime, their level of involvement, the adult courtroom systems, etc. So this astounding and alarming rates of the crime by the young adults in our nation have called for attention. Not a day goes by when a newspaper headlines don't read about crimes which are done by the youth. So we are talking against the gender inequality, felony, sexual assault, corruption, poverty, cybercrime, rape, and whatnot. And our own youth, who are the future of the nation, are the one under the scrutiny for committing these heinous crimes. So the youth are there to shape the future of the country and decrease the statistics which is portraying this dark picture of the nation. So, there is a National Crime Bureau record which states that 60% of the crime against the minors are done by the youngsters who are between 16 to 18. So this accounts for about 28,830 out of 43,506 crimes registered against the minor under the Indian Penal Code and a special local law. So, we need to stop this. We need to start counseling them right from the early ages. There should be a peer pressure, positive peer pressure. Parents should also be like an example, define the criminal aspects and, some stringent law enforcement, better judiciary setup. And, we need to discourage the youngsters from committing such crimes by wait for others to better your world when you yourself can take a step more and stop it. So some kind of a rehabilitation instead of retributive system, is the need of today. So overall, we can say that there is a issue of the implementation aspects. We make laws, but the implementation part is at a big question mark, and the machinery is also not working the way it should. And the remodeling of these structures, these systems, and it is the need of today. So that was all from my side. Thank you, Alka, for giving me this platform to share my views. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
That was indeed power-packed sharing, what facts you shared, the statistics you shared, the laws, some of them I didn't know. I mean, it all came back. But, one thing which just made me think, and that was that, when you're saying that we need to encourage them not to, I think a lot depends on positive parenting right from childhood.
Yes.
What happens is that, I have seen in many cases, as a psychotherapist, I have seen that, young ones have some incident to narrate from their childhood, which sort of, makes them so aggressive towards life, which makes them feel that, because that thing happened to them, so they have to make the entire world miserable, or whoever, sort of traumatize them, they have to make the entire world miserable for them. So I guess, again, it depends on us, as parents, because we all are parents in our way. I mean, even if we're mentoring students, we are their parents. I think a lot depends on the positive use of the right words, the right way of speaking. we have to analyze what we say to them. I think many times, at times I also, when I look back, I feel that I should have said something like this to my son rather than saying it in a particular way. And then I realized that positive parenting does matter. So yes.
Absolutely, Alka. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree with you. And as an educationist, I just want to add one more thing, that some kind of value addition process, right from the school to the college, should be introduced, stating all these aspects and developing all these aspects, and give a beautiful bouquet to all the children right from their childhood till college, till the time they complete their college. There should be revision of all these value-added courses, what
Yes.
An individual in the society, how positive they can be, how we can avoid crime, talking about the laws, as a mandatory education policy. So these value addition courses and, knowing of the laws, because they should understand that if they do a crime, what is going to be the scenario, and the strong implementation, knowledge of these laws will also give a long way to control the crime rate as far as the juvenile is concerned. Thank you.
Very well said, Namita. Yes, and we can see that you're such a powerful, practitioner of POSH. And I've heard you on several occasions, and I love the way you give all those facts and statistics. You're very good with numbers, I must say. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. But please be around to ask questions from others. And if I would want to, take this opportunity to request all of you that in case whenever you feel the desire to say something, please feel free to do so, because we need to understand certain things. If you do not feel you do not agree with something, please do ask. So we would definitely have that, also there, because then only, one actually understands what we are trying to share, what we're trying to talk about. So yes, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome all our friends, all our brothers and sisters, and our matron from United Kingdom. So a big, big welcome to Her Excellency, Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth. Thank you so much, dearest Queen, for joining us. Thank you, Farhana. Thank you, Dr. Pratik, Dorota, my friend from Poland. Vyoma, our technical head, it's lovely to see you, and she is a legal eagle herself, so that's why she's there. And yes, our friend from Canada, Mr. Juan, my friend Dhira, Mr. Juwari from Indonesia, thank you so much for joining us, and that's a lovely backdrop of your cafe. I know your son has recently opened up a cafe in Indonesia. That's really wonderful. Professor from Malaysia, Dr. TPS from India, Dr. Sonia from India, Gujarat, and all of us, yes. And before we proceed, I would like to invite the lady of wit and grit, and who believes that it's all about training the mind, feed the mind with positive thoughts, and even the most challenging job will become easy, because your mind will tell you to do it till you succeed, because somewhere down there is an element that says that yes, you can do it. I am talking about our very dearest Queen, our matron, Her Excellency Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth, who is the brains behind Yes You Can International, the global inspirational speaker, author, poet, advisor, mindset and transformational and relationship coach. She's a youth mentor, empowering youth all over the globe, author of Yes You Can, Love's Labor Lost, and so many more books. She's the founder, director of Yes You Can International. She's the global queen of inspiration. She's the queen of Africa, and she is our matron. That is the most important thing of CHILPARCO International. There we are. Hello there. How are you? Long time.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. Really, 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 we are moving forward. We are together and we are standing together. First of all, let me give honor to whom honor is due. My mentor. I've mentioned that. My mentor is in the house, Professor TPS. Good afternoon, sir. Good evening. I don't know what time it is in India now, but here, really wonderful. We are having our summer. We're enjoying, and it's just 2 o'clock. So good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Sonia. Good afternoon, Professor FK. Good afternoon, our wonderful ambassador, Aneja from India. I love you. Good afternoon, sir, from Indonesia, Dr. Tiwari. Good afternoon, Dr. Patrick. Good afternoon, Dr. Direk. Good afternoon, Dr. Namita. Good afternoon, Dr. Vaktangot. Good afternoon, Dr. Fahana Hurt. Good afternoon. If I haven't mentioned your name, I am very, very, very sorry because I know I'm not the ones to take all your time today, but I would like to appreciate you all. Thank you so much. CHILPARCO International is my other part. When we talk about Yes You Can International, we are also talking about CHILPARCO International because we are sisters, we are family, and we are working together. And yes, we can, because Yes You Can is giving us the force, the energy to do whatever we need to do. I won't take much of your time, but I just want to acknowledge all our wonderful leaders here and my wonderful, precious, oh yes, we have Dr. Dorota from EU. Good afternoon, ma'am. And we also have Dr. Aika Shah. Good afternoon, ma'am, or sir, I don't know. Anyway, so we are here together once again to share together. And we have a very important topic here today that is very, very important. And we are here to learn together, really, because we know that we have so many professors and doctors and intellectuals here, but like my wonderful Dr. Aika said, it all needs to start from our mindset, because sitting down together, discussing about it, how we can make a change, how we can build this up, how we can do this one, is an information being stored into our mindset. And our mindset is divided into two. We have the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. But when we talk about the fixed mindset, that we want to just be doing exactly what we're doing all along, all these years, but we need a change. We need a transformation. We need to move forward. We need to transform our lives. We need to make it better. We need to make our environment better. We need to treat others better and add value to them. And that is why we need growth mindset. And we need to be positive. We need to be positive, because all things are possible. So we need to be positive in whatever. That doesn't mean that negativity will not surround us. That doesn't mean that we won't see any negativity. That doesn't mean that we won't see the storms or the challenges or the adversity. But when we hold on to say, we can come out of it, we can make it, we can challenge ourselves, we can face the battle, we can face the challenges, and we can face anyone in this world. Then when we have that kind of attitude, then it keeps us going, knowing that no one is perfect and no one is perfect. I will say that no one is perfect. We are learning from one another. And that is what this platform is all about. So I just want to seize this opportunity to thank Dr. Mahaja Aika for establishing this platform, bringing us together to share together and gain better understanding. Because without understanding, we cannot take any action. So I am here to learn, as well as all my leaders and my mentor. And I want to say thank you so much for inviting us. And we are together. And yes, we can make a change. So thank you so much for coming together. I believe that you will still come back again, because this is just the beginning of the beginning. Dr. Aika has shared so many things with me, especially when she just visited us in London. And I'm ready. And I believe all of us are ready because we are family. So let's go. That's the word. Yes, we can. God bless you and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dearest Queen. Yes, we can, because we all are unique, unstoppable, and unbeatable. And yes, we are going to do the impossible, so-called impossible, with our special, unique strengths. We have to. We cannot give up. We have to keep on saying to ourselves and reminding ourselves that, yes, we can. Yes, I can. And yes, you can. We have to encourage each and every one to bring out their best and to put their best foot forward. I think that is what is required. Humanitarianism, putting a smile on people's faces and reminding them that they can achieve. They just need to dream. They first need to believe. They need to dream. They need to believe what they dream, because then it is bound to come true for sure. So having said that, dearest Queen, I am now going to be inviting on the platform your mentor and the mentor for us also at CHILPARCO International, Professor Dr. T.P. Sasikumar, who's an educationalist, a life mentor, a space scientist, a writer, a motivator, a public speaker, and he's the founder of Shiksha Gyanam. So a big, big namaskar to you, Professor Dr. Sasikumar. We are eagerly waiting to hear your thoughts on this sensitive but highly relevant topic. So it's over to you.
Namaskar, Malka. One more thing to add. I'm also a law graduate.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Then, because I remember you telling me that you are also, I think, an astrologer. So I forgot to mention an astrologer,
I was also
a law expert, so a legal as well.
Human rights activities.
Wow.
I was also helping educators in Kerala while I was in service.
Yeah.
To rewrite the law terminology which are understandable, common teachers' language. There is a lot of difference between, I can't speak like how Namita spoke, because I am not a, though I learned those technical terms in my class and I know how to write exam and then get good marks. I taught most of the topics under law. I taught jurisprudence. I taught constitutional law in India. I taught IPC, CRPC, Evidence Act, taught in classrooms where I use such technical terms. But I found it very difficult for the common public to understand. That is because the legal terms are so tough. We must thank where Queen Elizabeth is coming from, the tradition of UK English, which no people should not understand. American English is very simple. Every buffalo will understand, right? So we are somewhere in between these two. So India has a very severe problem, and it's not that easy to answer this. What is to be done with the law? Because law takes so much of time. By the time the case is filed, he may be a young boy. By the time the verdict comes, he would have become an old person, right? Elderly person. But still, law considers this is one of the most stupidest thing in this world, probably. Other day, Supreme Court was telling, I cleanly observe and then follow all what is happening in judicial systems and policing in the world. Basically, because I have got basic interest in such things as part of my humanitarian activities as a person looking what social justice could be. The Supreme Court is telling 2/3 of the cases in India, or maybe 2/3 of the police involvement in arrest is because the court is not able to decide whether it is really committed or not. So you can imagine it's most of them are police custody than a court punishment sending them to jail. This is what is happening. And this, the culprit who are finding loopholes in law knows what is to be done. So I think most of the children are innocent. By birth, all of us are innocent. What happens is as we grow, we become more commit crimes. The society, the culture makes us to make it. And that is why we are like this. And that is why the society is like this. It will be surprising to know for the last 2 years during the COVID, the drug abuse cases, the drug transit cases, the drug captured cases, the seized cases, unseized cases will be much more, I am telling. Has increased 234% or something. That's a statistics which says. So you can imagine when the social system is so much cramped in the tension and children are not academically educated, or maybe if not educated, at least keep them in schools. No, when that did not happen, they become criminals. So I keep saying most of the colleges and schools in India are soft jails. It is not that we are giving education to them and then making them capable for getting a job. We are not able to provide sufficient technical skill. We are not able to provide them sufficient education to empower them to get a job. Most of the courses what we are providing under university systems are not employable. Therefore, unemployable people are much. The biggest problem with this is the school level, the youth level, below 18 is what we are discussing. All of them are aware of what is going to be offered to them in this world. No good education. That is why if you look at the statistics in the countries in which the Belgium, maybe Finland is rated as one of the best education, the criminal cases under juvenile is very, very less. So it is great extent to do with education. And what is that we are supposed to do? Assume that somebody is caught at that age. We are supposed to rehabilitate them, give them sufficient liberty to learn. And therefore, it is not called jail today. It is called the social transformation centers, and people call by each state can call it by different names. 2015 on my wedding anniversary day, I was there in one of the social justice home where such kids were accommodated. But if you look at it, that's only very few number. I know much more will be there. And what I have seen, physically seen in that place, along with my son, I was there. He could speak few languages, I could speak few languages, therefore we could communicate to the inmates there. They are not called culprits, they are not called criminals, they are not called any people who have done some crimes. They are called as inmates there. And what are they? We have seen from every state of India. It is not that in Kerala, state-run home, where the warden could speak only his mother tongue, he is maintaining people with different languages. So you can imagine how good he can do and what good he can do with them, right? So even if the punishment is given at that age, it is to transform them, to rehabilitate them, to give a better future tomorrow. That's not happening. So the punishment system itself is bad, even if they are considered as juvenile and then taken. There are a lot of United Nations conventions and rules which are made what is to be done with these children. Each country has their own. Probably once upon a time there was no difference, and number of people were not considerably great where the rule has to be made for the children. JJ, Juvenile Act, justice was not to be done. But the country which is relooking at the system, America itself, they are the people, I think it's somewhere in 1800, I don't remember the exact year, in 1800s, is when they started Illinois. I remember the court. It is in Illinois court. They decided they will have a very special court for this. And you can see maybe after 200 years, the same country is relooking at it. That is because 68% of the people who are into that, they could not transform. We couldn't do good justice to them. So what is the purpose of putting them in jail? And we all know that justice delayed is justice denied, right? So in that context, I must congratulate Alka for bringing up this topic under the great platform. And having discussed this, I don't know what change we can make, but at least I'm sure if the Indian law written by in the legal terms, as I have done some service to the educators in Kerala, where it can be transformed and then converted into a local understandable language, as that is what Dr. Namita was mentioning, and Dr. Alka is also keen on this, that people should be at young age, not like a value education today, writing examination, don't make them to understand. Again, they will get good marks, but they will not transform it into action. I keep mentioning the good example in the Mahabharata, we have got Dharmaputra and Duryodhana. Both of them studied in same class, same school, same teacher, same professor taught to them. One became good, one became bad. From childhood onwards, if some punishment has to be given, it would have been given to Bhima also, right? They have also done so many bad mistakes in their life. So if you, it is not learning and getting good marks. It is understanding and putting into practice. How it will happen? It will happen only there is a culture, like we call as ourselves adults. We should look after our own children. That's not happening. If somebody is going bad, it is just because the dharma is not prevailed, the value system is not prevailed. Tomorrow in Kerala, we have got a system of reading Ramayana from the month of this July-August mix that is starting tomorrow. So I keep saying the Ramayana month, people had a dharmic mulya, the value system, which was taught because society used to fight with society. Today, after the Dwapara Yuga, it was family to family fighting. Today, within the family, individuals are fighting because communication is lacking. We are so developed, but development is actually making us to go down in the world. So we are discussing a problem which I think need to be looked at. Rule makers, the administrators, the implementers as administrators, the rule makers as legislators, and maybe the court who makes it to really to make these rules to implement and hand it over to the administrators. Educators need to be understood. So we have a great role as educators to look at it very carefully. I think one of the largest number of cases during the last few years was drug addicts, drug transaction, and understand maximum number of youth are being in the catches of those drug transporters who are using young people, so that there is a cover under the legal system where the Genovel will take care of them with not that much of a punishment. So it is adults who are using children to make these mistakes. I think it is to be seen by the society and the culture. And this is what I want to make submission. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sasikumar. Yes, you are right. And I don't know, but I am not a legal expert. I would really want someone who has a little bit of knowledge about whatever you have said. Maybe we have Miss Alka Singh. Would you like to ask our Professor Dr. Sasikumar a question based on what he said?
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I agree with a lot of things that Sir has just talked about. And I just want to add something instead of asking a question. He spoke, being an educator, teaching adolescents in school. What I have found is there is a lot, Alka ma'am, you spoke about positive parenting also.
Yes.
The onus of responsibility is on the teachers, the adults, the parents. We are not able to guide our children. Ma'am, you'll be surprised. We are not getting the time to talk to them. We need to, we are just going with the curriculum and the syllabus. There is nothing in the name of values. So how are the children going to learn? And when we talk about juvenile crimes, I feel as educators, as parents, we need to focus on prevention, not punishment. Punishment, the law codes are there, the rules are there, that will happen eventually, depending on the nature of the crime. But all of us, it is our responsibility. Instead of blaming them, instead of punishing them, first we must work and focus on preventing these crimes. It has to begin from home. It has to begin from school. We need to talk to our children. There's nobody to talk to them. And when we discuss issues in school, it could be about peer pressure. It could be about drugs. It could be about, so many things that which drive them to commit crimes. You will be amazed that they listen to us. They listen to the teachers more than they listen to the parents. We need to find time to talk to them. So I do agree with what Sir has spoken about. And I feel this is the way ahead. We must work on the prevention part. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Dr. Sasi Kumar, you would like to add to what Ms. Alka Singh said?
I really appreciate, I understand Alka must be working with some schools or maybe as an educator, right? I'm called maybe next week I have to go to Bangalore for a program. The first invitation from the school came that for a 2-hour talk. I said no. I will not travel to Bangalore for a 2-hour talk because it's approximately 10 hours travel and 10 hours back. And all the waiting time in the aircraft and all that, it will take another 1 or 2 days. So 3 days are wasted for 2 hours talk. I'm not going to do that. We had a lot of deliberations and bargaining each other. The date, otherwise today I would have been in Bangalore. We have postponed it because they wanted to find out. I don't do any job which is just for a namesake. Oh, Dr. TPS is called, and they can put in the website few pictures. That's not my aim at all. I said I will come to your school only when I can talk to all the students above grade 7 so that I can make some sense. Second, all the teachers should attend my session. They did a mistake of calling me probably. I'm so much demanding, right? And then I said, not just enough. I want to get back to students after talking to teachers. What difference they made in the next class. Third one, and I will talk to the children again on another day. So third day, I will be meeting students again. And fourth day, I will talk to all the parents. And they agreed for the demand. I will do only such cases. The reason is, I will tell you, I will take Manat as an example. Manat, I don't know, beautiful girl, I don't call Manat as Kalam, I call her as Malak. Manat has to look at the meaning of Malak. Malak means decorations. Malak also means angel in 2 different languages, Hebrew and Arabic. Okay, both Christian language and the Muslim language. It has got 2 different meanings. Find out. Manat, do you really know the meaning of the Gayatri mantra?
It's very vibrant.
I'll tell you one joke. When I went to one of the schools, somebody had chanted this Gayatri mantra and asked about who this mantra is. So the child started looking at Om Bhur. No person by that name. Bhuvaswa, no person. At last he found Devasya as one of the name, which is a Christian name, and said it is about Devasya. Indirectly it was true, but without knowing, there was a Christian common name, right? So they thought it's a Christian common name for whom praising is the song. Manat, do you know which God is being praised here?
Sun God.
Yeah, what does it say? The last word. Dio yo na. Prachodayat. Manath very, very promptly, beautifully sang this where it has to stop. Many people make mistakes without they don't understand meaning. Diyo yo na prachodayat. The last word is prachodayat. What is prachodayat means?
No,
It is not the, yeah, it is not the Manath mistake. I'll tell you, 99% of adults who are chanting also doesn't know the meaning. This is our education system. We don't ask Manath, don't stop, keep, this is what you have to chant, immediately ask what is the meaning. If you don't understand, don't stop asking question. Our education system did not do this. So we are all making fun of the young children, making them to repeat without understanding. And if we cannot stop this, are we not making fun of the children? This is what is happening in any education system, which I don't want. You read, you sing, it is a beautiful song where make me enlightened. Prachodayat means make me enlightened. What a beautiful song is that. If you understand the meaning, the way you chant, you get enlightened. Your eyebrow will go up when you chant that. This is what is education. So I believe there are a lot more to be done by the educators, not by bluffing. The world has become only a WhatsApp, Facebook universities, giving degrees to people. Right? Education has become just certificates. We should stop with that. Ask question, Manath, from today onwards. I want one student to be generated on a day when I meet somebody. Ask question. If you don't get answer, my number is the Dr. TPS. Anything which you can't understand, talk to me straight. As long as you are maybe 40 years, I will be alive to answer all the questions.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Good enough, good enough.
Well, that was an interesting dialogue and very well put, I mean, with that example, I think that was quite an eye opener. And I think the message is loud and clear, what Dr. Sasikumar is wanting to share with all of us. I do hope we give it a thought as educators, as parents, as adults.
Alka, you know my name TPS stands for teachers, parents, and students, right?
Yes, you shared that with us the last time, and you surely are that way. Perfect. Sure. Wonderful. And from our educators and mentors, we also have now with us a counselor who says that dare to dream and dream to dare. She is the founder of Dream Achievers. She is the master trainer at AIEF. Not only that, she is the national counselor at SPAA Academy of India, and she is CHILPARCO International's counselor and advisor. I am talking about our very own Dr. Sonia Achantani from Gujarat, India. Dr. Sonia, let's hear your views now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. A very warm good evening to one and all present on this platform. Thank you, Alka, ma'am. Thank you, CHILPARCO International, for giving us this opportunity to come and share our views. Today is a very sensitive and a very close to heart topic if we really think about it in terms of words. It is something that we really need to brainstorm ourselves. We need to come out with solutions because we've been hearing many crimes done by the juveniles. Now, what are juveniles? Who are they? The people who are under the age of 18, who haven't been a major as yet, below 18 years. Those people are juveniles. Now, we expect them to be bubbly, filled with life, aspirations, beautiful, positive dreams. We need to look at them with that quality, a holistic grooming. They have some values in life. They are looking out to a goal in life, but they end up doing crimes. Now, this is the saddest plight. Why do they come out with crimes? It's a very, very small age. The topic what we are talking about today is whether they should be treated and tried as adults. Yes, they should be treated and tried as adults if their crime is cruelty, if they have brutally shaped the crime, when they can brutally shape a crime to that level of cruelty, it is a heinous crime by them, then yes, they need to be treated as adults. Because if they are not treated as adults, we are denying proper justice to the victim. We are not getting that victim the proper justice that really is mattered. You know, the family goes through a trauma, pain. There's lots that a family goes through, the entire family, not only the victim, everybody. Sometimes it's a murder. Now, the person who was murdered, what was his fault? Just an argument? These days, we see students arguing among each other, and we see one hitting the other and ending it, right? You know, so this is also a crime, the aggression, because they cannot take a loss, they cannot lose. बच्चे बोलते हैं हम हार नहीं सकते, उनको हारना सीखना पड़ेगा. They will have to learn how to lose. They will have to accept failures in life. They need to see the other one winning. They need to see that. They need to accept it and even appreciate it in life. Because aggressions come from there only. And being educators, being parents, if we are not able to guide them to this, then we are at fault. We cannot tell the court, बेचारा बच्चा है, juvenile है, minor है, उससे गलती हो गई. उस गलती की सजा उसको तो मिलेगी. I think even we should be blamed for it, for not correcting him, or guiding him to the right direction at that time. As sir said, that we only don't have to teach them a particular topic for just teaching them. We make sure that they understand what they are learning and how they implement it in the life. What is the approach of action they take it in life, So that is more important for us. We need to give them a holistic grooming. As Alka Singh ma'am mentioned that, adolescent studies should be done. We do it in biology. That's a part from 8th, 9th and 10th. But we do it as a chapter. We do it as a syllabus. We do it as a curriculum. Have we really taught them the real insight about that chapter? Have we really given them a true version of the life, how it is, how adolescents have to be treated? When they are in that age, many of us is, oh, ye age mein bacche aise karte, it's okay, ignore. Wo ignore jo hum karte hain, that ignorance what we gave them at that time really boosts up, and they think ki humne kuch galat nahi kiya hai, we can do bigger than this. And that is when a bigger crime takes place. So if we are going to stop them at smaller things only, then we will not have crimes. Yes, Alka ma'am, we can prevent crimes from there only. You said that we need to prevent it. We can only prevent it when we can stop them from doing mistakes. We need to check their mistakes, smallest mistake also. कभी कभी बच्चे छोटी पेंसिल चुराते हैं, इरेजर चुराते हैं, कुछ भी झूठ बोलते हैं. We hardly take any notice of it. But if we check them at that given point as parent, as educator, as school authorities, I'm sure that once or twice when they are corrected, when they are taught in the right way, then they will surely stop it. They will understand it. During our school days, we used to have moral values, moral science as a subject, where we were giving stories about great heroes, the moral values they had in life and how things were there. Do we have that as a syllabus now? No, it's all gone from our syllabus and curriculum. Why? Why should the students not learn all those things? It should be a part of their curriculum, They should be taught such things. They should know how to respect the others in the class, be it peers, be it parents, be it neighbors, anybody for that matter. They need to understand that they cannot get away from it. Today, why we have more of youngsters doing crime? Because they get away. The juvenile code does not give them punishment. Let's take example of the Nirbhaya case only. That little girl, 23-year-old girl, went through a bad trauma the days she was alive. It was equivalent to being on a deathbed only. She did not get back to life. Her parents are still suffering. And what was the punishment given to the minor in her case? 3 years of 3 years of juvenile rehabilitation center. He was the one who led the rape. He was the one who did the miserable things. But still he was left. just because he was a minor. If action was taken against him, if the court had been rigid in giving him punishment and been strict with him, I'm sure today the rape cases would have been less in any country for that matter. Because our courts don't take proper justice, and as Sir said, justice delayed is justice denied. Today also, we don't know who that minor was. His identity was not revealed at all. There are many such cases, we can take it on fingers and talk about it, where these people, even if you take the case of Kasab, he was not a minor, but they tried to prove it with evidences that he was a minor and he should be let out of the terrorist attacks, but it was not proved by them. And then he got what he had to as a punishment. But are we really looking out for this type of future? Is this what we want? Is this what we've dreamt about our future generations to come? I think we need to think about it. We need to understand, make a collective decision and come out and do the best that we can, give them a holistic learning, a learning which can make them good citizens, good human resources for the upcoming trends and the country. Thank you.
Wonderful, Dr. Sonia, that was wonderful. Yes, you made a very valid point when you said that, we have to teach them about failure. Because I remember my own student telling me that ma'am, you taught us only about winning, succeeding in the school. When we were sent for competitions, I used to get the first prize. I used to be very happy. I went to college and I did not get any prize in the very first competition I went. And, I was heartbroken. I was shattered because I couldn't take failure. I didn't know how to accept failure. So it's very important that the children be trained in also accepting failure. It's a life skill. And we need to learn from our failures. I mean, we cannot grow if we do not fail at certain points of time. I think all of us have failed at some point of time or the other. At least I have. I know that for sure. But every failure has taught one to grow, to evolve. I think that was a very valid point. And yes, the Nirbhaya case, you're right, is when you still think about that, it is actually spine chilling. And yes, what happened, and there was no, in fact, it was a classic case of justice delayed and justice denied, because had something really sterner happened at that point of time, maybe, the cases that we hear today, because it's still going on. And the pandemic did not stop those kind of things. The pandemic only worsened situation. So there's so much more to dwell upon. There's so much more to think about. It's only, it has to begin from the very, very beginning point. I think we need to go to the very small point from where this all happens, and we need to keep on nurturing it in the proper way when it actually does. So thank you so much. It was really an eye-opener. It was wonderful having you. And now you have to be our counselor and keep on guiding, and you have to also, help us in making our dreams come true, Sonia.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime, ma'am. Always there for you. I'm just a call away from you.
Wonderful. That is,
ma'am, I would only like to tell you that 7:30 I have another session. So after
I know that is why I invited you to speak. That was the reason. That was a reason. Yeah. And yes, we have our friend from Indonesia also, who's been waiting. Dr. Juwari from Indonesia. He's at the faculty at USA. He's a contributor at Higher Education Review. He's a journalist at Varta. He's a passionate educator and he's a wonderful human being. I just told him once and he said, yes, I will be there. Thank you so much, Dr. Juwari, for accepting our invitation and being here, wanting to share with us your powerful thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, educators, teachers, advisors from everywhere. Well, it was wonderful listening to all of the speakers about their ideas and also some recommendation and also some of the arguments. Well, I would like to talk something that is starting from the very specific points. Then finally, I would like to draw the generalization and the conclusion. How we have to treat and also try the juvenile that we are now talking about. First of all, based on my experience when I was a teacher of secondary school in 1985 to 1991, so about 6 years, I had been the teacher of the school in the secondary school in which my students were about 15 to 17 years old. And what happened in everyday life that I found out and as an eyewitness is that, for example, in the school, mostly the children, the juvenile like that, were absent. Yeah, very often the case is absent from school. And what is the teachers, the school punish them? A long time ago, there were some types of punishment. They could not be allowed to have a kind of final examination, and they could also given this coursing of one semester out of the school and so on and so forth. It was so very sad, yeah, at that time. Yeah. And another one, but after we found it, what is the cause? For example, at the time, I tried to read some of the newspapers in my own country here. Mostly, there are from the family. It could be real broken home, or it can be from the pseudo broken home. The real broken home, in fact, that most of the children doing in that way, trying to be misbehavior because of the parents absent in the house. Now, and from this, then that is from the inside of the family. The second one, the same also in the family, but their parents were complete, yeah, not a broken home. But the problem is that the parent put of the father and mother were very busy working outside. That's a very good profession, and also working in very prestigious offices. So they were busy. They could not communicate with the parent very well. And these are also considered to be the factor from inside the family. Another one, yeah, I also observed some of the news covered featured in the newspaper media somewhere, yeah, in my country, like the criminal, like the murder, even the murder, and also the robbery, and also minor misbehavior. Whenever we talk about this, the news media you cover that kind of event, the crime done by the juvenile, then it was always dealing with the court and the judge, the justice. And what happened? Then they were also punished based on the paragraph and the penalty also given, yeah, with the fine the same as the law practice for the adult. This is the in outside of the school or in the environment. And the cause is that even though they were under the complete family and good family, but the problem is that the environment outside, they could meet some friends or some a group of the social group, for example, but this is not a good one group, and that was misbehavior also happened not because of from the inside the family, but from outside the family. This is the factor from the minor points. Another one, for example, we can also go to the development of technology today. Now, if we look at the technology, then everybody, everywhere now have got, even the students of primary school got the technology equipment. We call it cellular phone or handphone or like Android like this. And what happened actually, mostly also they did the misbehavior because they try to imitate what was exposed in the technology equipment, like in the cellular phone. So this is also the problem, that actually not only from the inside of the family, neither from the environment, but from the development of technology. And this is another one of the example of the factor that we have to observe. Now, from this kind of facts that we have already observed in the fields, in our world, our life, then there are 2 points that we have to understand very carefully. As educator, teacher, like TPS, teacher, parent, and educator, advisor, whatever we are having the profession in this group of discussion, there are 2 points that we have to understand. Number 1 is controllable factors. The second is uncontrollable sector. The controllable sector, what we can do, like what I do and you do all today here, something that dealing with our profession. If we are teachers, then we have to teach in the classroom in a good way, how to treat them like adults, how to teach them to behave a very good way, and so on and so forth, dealing with our profession. This is controllable as a teacher, for example. But something that is not uncontrollable, like the judge and the court and the government, here are not under our control. So what happened outside, they do not have the same feeling what we are discussing today in this forum. So the judge and the law they practice in their profession might be different from exactly from our point of view today. And this is something that we can consider something that is uncontrollable. And what happened then? Meaning that we are talking something that we can discuss and we can summarize, we can generalize, and then we can keep it for us, only for us and our profession. And I believe that this kind of discussion, we also includes the department, the association, or whatever profession who are deal with the court and the judge, and also the lawyer. Why? Because they use their law regulation. So every paragraph and and they also have to use to implement that kind, and they do not understand whether they are teenagers under the age of 18 and they are juvenile and they are treated based on the law they use as the legal point. And this is uncontrollable for us. I would be glad if for the next discussion, hopefully we can also include the people or the profession that are uncontrollable in our own profession. So this is hopefully Dr. Alka Dasan. How about if we next time you can also include the government and also the judge and even the lawyer. And from this point of view, then they would understand, and then we can also make a summary for a kind of proposal to the government so that they can also make a decision for giving the reform about this kind of treatment. And finally, I can judge that actually juvenile here is a kind of a complex interplay of individual, biological, genetic factors, and environmental factors. So as parents, TP, teacher and parents, so we are parents, we can also control as our profession as the parent. Teachers, because I'm also a teacher, then I can also control my obligation, my job, my duty, my ability that is related to our profession. And then something that uncontrollable, I think it is very difficult. Yeah. So if I try to generalize that juvenile here is the result of complex interplay of individual biological, genetic factors, environmental factors, and we have to discuss it completely, comprehensively with all the aspect, with all of the institution or profession related to this complex interplay of individual factors. Thank you very much. Yeah, good evening, everyone.
And a big, big thank you to you, Tarima Kasi, to you. I mean, that was wonderful.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
I have noted the points that you have said, that we should have this discussion. Maybe we can have to just support it, to, you know, sort of, we can have more on this, maybe in a little way in our next conversations, maybe on the Wireless Connect. So Dhira can note this and we will decide on a suitable topic. And just to let you know, we do have a lawyer with us today. We had Dr. Namita, and we have a lawyer with us today, Vyoma, and of course we have a lawyer in Dr. T.P. Sasikumar. So we have tried to, you know, have a very healthy, healthy bringing together of people from all different sectors, so we could understand this problem. And yes, the points that you mentioned about the controllable and uncontrollable sectors, I think we need to talk about those two sectors in detail. So we will figure out a topic where we discuss that, and we will have you there so that, you know, we can take this further. I mean, all of us will be there to discuss this further, and we will have more people from the law, from judiciary, from lawyers, as you said it, we will have some more of them. So yes, point noted. And thank you so much, Dr. Juwari, for, coming and sharing your perspectives. It's wonderful to know the thoughts and what all happens in Indonesia, because when we understand the different perspectives from different countries, then we know that we are not alone in this battle. You know, it's like a battle for us. We're still struggling. But if we can struggle together, you know, taking the good points from one another and what works for us in our particular country, I think then, it's not going to be so difficult. We just have to start somewhere. It's just an initiative that somebody really needs to work at. We cannot just talk. We need to do some action about it. And I'm sure if we take those first tiny steps, we will be able to get there. So thank you once again. And I see. Yes, Dr. Sasikumar. Yes. And after you, I'll invite Ambassador Mannat, because she
Alka,
yes.
Yeah. Alka, because you mentioned a specific case of Nirbhaya. Yes. I think it happened in early 2013 or so.
2012.
And we have Delhi bus case
2012. Yes.
And Bombay musician cases in 2019 or so. The Juvenile Justice Act of 2000 was amended. And called Children in Conflict with the Law, CCL. Yes. Where judge could consider the severity of the case and then give a punishment, and can be dealt as an adult case equivalent to. So 16 to 18 is taken care of because that group of people have come into commitment. Right. So this shows after schooling up to 10th class, after that is where the real crime mostly it happens.
Absolutely.
So this is one of the cases probably which is happening in India. But if you look at the cases in America, no age bar also. It's young children also in their hands. Right. So amendments keeps happening. So there is a little hope that the government is also aware and then being taken care of. The Juvenile Justice Board has got a role to play. It's not court alone, but they also have given permission in such cases to give punishments to them equivalent to.
Absolutely, you're right. The amendments keep on happening. And I have an amendment that was sent to me by my daughter, which Dr. Sasikumar just now mentioned. The same thing that you mentioned was sent to me by my daughter as well, that this is the amended act. So since you're discussing this, you should know about it. Well, thank you so much for reminding me. And let's have our young Ambassador Mannat give her views on this topic. She seems to be very keen. So yes, our young doll, what would you like to say about this topic? We would like to hear your thoughts as a youngster.
Sure, ma'am. What a wonderful topic to talk upon. Trust me, the word juvenile was hounding since the day I read about the heinous incident of Nirbhaya. One of the accused was a juvenile who saved served 3 years in reformation home and later released. But I could not take this. Why he was being treated differently for the same crime which took away life of an innocent girl, leaving behind a grieving parents in emptiness and pain which is impossible to heal. This reminds me about golden words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American philosopher and a poet. Crime and punishment grow out of one stem. Punishment is a fruit that unsuspected ripens with the flower of the pleasure that conceals it. I support the statement. Juveniles should be tried and treated as adults. As a youth today is taking advantage of this lenient and outdated system and are getting encouraged. They believe they will get off easily. They forget that crime is a crime, regardless of age. Instead of rehabilitation, they should be tried as adults and given punishment so that other children do not commit such shameful acts. Juveniles are a treat to the society as they easily corrupt other children in their group. But yes, looking at the physical and mental maturity of a child should be tested and he or she should be punished accordingly. It's a very common phrase, old enough to do the crime, old enough to do the time. Thus can say teens need to be tried as adults because it helps to bring justice to families of victims, and it also teaches the teens accountability by removing the leniency as a child transitions into adult creates an incentive to avoid criminal conduct in the first place. Hope all the eminent speakers and moderator agree with me. Lastly, would say the only effective way to reduce and prevent juvenile crime is to balance the enforcement measures with targeted, effective, and intervention initiatives. Thank you.
Well, Dhira, what do you have to say to our little young ambassador?
Manat, that was excellent. The level of confidence, the clarity of thought, and the way you expressed yourself. I know it's an issue which usually the adult population discusses, but at your age, if you have a point of view which you shared so beautifully, we are highly impressed. Kudos to you. Well done, Manat.
Great, Manat. If we have youngsters who are so aware of topics like this and who are so clear about what it is that they want and whether something is right or wrong, they know how to discriminate. I think, the world is headed towards a better tomorrow. It all rests on you, the young ones. So thank you so much for such articulate expressions, such powerful points. And we all are very, awestruck by the way you presented it so beautifully in front of all of us and with amazing confidence. I must say your confidence is amazing. And you are not only a good speaker, a good singer, a storyteller, a news reporter. I don't know, how do you manage to do all those things? I mean, at your age and with school activities, how do you manage it all? Unmute yourself and tell us.
Yeah, my mom says that time will never come back, so.
Okay. Well, your mom does say the right thing because time does not stand for us. It just keeps on moving. So we have to grab every opportunity and we have to make the best use of the time that is with us now. But now is important. Remember that. Thank you so much, Manat. from all of us, lots of love to you, lots of blessings to you, and keep shining, keep growing, my little one. Okay, thank you so much. And a big kudos to your mommy also, who encourages you to share your views on a platform where we have all adults. Thank you so much, Manna. And yes, friends, change makers, peace builders, educators, we have with us our guest of honor. He is the founder of AIEF. He is an SDG ambassador, and he is a CBSE moderator, a resource person. He's an author. He's a passionate educationist. He's ever smiling. He's a man of words, his words. He's a man of conviction. He's a man of, he doesn't break his promise. He told me that he'll be here, even if it's for a certain while. He'll join late, and as true to his words, he is here with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Ambassador Matthews. And yes, what do you have to say about what you have heard and something from your side on this topic?
Yeah, thank you, welcome, ma'am. I was just worried whether the program is over because I had a commitment till 7 p.m. So I joined after that.
Yes.
Anyway, the topic that you have chosen is a double-edged sword, I think. It's that there are two sides of the coin.
Yes.
So we cannot, at least I cannot, I'm not qualified enough to make a verdict on this. But at the same time, I think both, I think we have to discuss case by case because considering the growth of students right now, they are aware, more aware. So at the age of 14, 15, they are very mature. They are conscious of their actions much more than what used to happen, let's say 20 or 30 years back. So they are responsible for their actions. So we need to teach them that every action has a consequence and they need to face the consequence. At the same time, you are also having people who are escaping the law. They know that if they are below 18, nothing is going to happen. So they take to crime and do a lot of things. They know that it's not going to be very harsh. So they get away with it. And there are also the other side of the story is that, you know, the backgrounds, the family backgrounds, as people were sharing the family backgrounds and the economic situation. You never know because as teachers, we meet students who are so indisciplined and, you know, they create chaos, they are fighting with each other. And when we start investigating, we find that the domestic front is very bad. Either it will be a single parent or, you know, the neighborhood where they are living is not good. The environment is very bad. They themselves are victims of abuse. So, you know, where to put the blame is a very difficult question. So we cannot put a blanket statement that everybody should be punished because we never know what is the circumstances. Circumstances can make you do a lot of things which you don't want to do. And at the same time, there are a majority who are making use of the situation. So my viewpoint is that a law as such is very difficult to pass because the situation may differ from person to person. So I think that's my opinion on it.
No, you're right. When you were speaking, you know, I was reminded of a story, a play actually that we used to teach to students when we were teaching English. So the Bishop's Candlesticks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ira would remember it. I think you would also remember it.
Yes.
So how a person, you were talking about family background, you were talking about circumstances. So from a man, he became a beast. And sometimes we don't know, okay, over here, that was a story. So we knew what had happened in his life and why he became a beast and why he behaved in the way he did and why he became a criminal, that to a hardcore criminal. So yes. I guess, yes, you're right. It is not easy to, you know, give one kind of a particular statement. Sometimes you need to take it up case by case. One has to give a very customized, you know, seeing the situation.
Yeah, especially schools, no, prevention is better than cure. Actually,
absolutely.
You know, one child will bring a pencil home, the parents don't say anything, and that could be a beginning of a series of theft because he knows that it's okay to bring a pencil or, you know, steal somebody. And, you know, that's what happens actually. So a lot of support is required from educators, parents. Unless those systems are strong, then crime is very difficult to prevent crime in any society. Or the laws have to be so harsh, like, you know, some of the countries where they chop off their hands that nobody dares to commit any crime. So, yes.
Well, but that's taking it a bit too far, you know.
Yeah, a bit too far, yes. Again, because
that is inhuman. That is inhuman.
Yeah, that's inhuman. Yeah, absolutely right. That's what. So, you know, that's what the circumstances. You never know whether he's framed or he is forced to do something. So there is a lot of legal issues, which as you said, there are so many lawyers here. They will be able to tell all that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But it's always good to know different perspectives. Like
Yes, absolutely. Right.
So we give our share of the education part. But yes, we have media people. We have people who are lawyers and from the judicial
absolutely right.
perspectives.
Also lawyer in this participant, Dr. Alka.
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Dr. Juwari, you want to say something? Dr. Juwari is from Indonesia.
Yeah, the participant from lawyer here. Yes. Hello.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. Other participant in this discussion from a lawyer.
Yes, she has just logged out. She will just join in 5 minutes. Once she, I will let you know.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Alka ma'am,
she got logged out.
Dr. Alka, stop. Sorry for interrupting. Alka Singh ma'am raised her hand. She'd like to say something.
Okay. Yes. Please, Alka Singh ma'am. Please go ahead.
And Dr. Alka, since this is debate, I was just thinking, based on what Mr. Matthews has also said, that sometimes, juveniles commit crime just out of ignorance without realizing the repercussions. And if they are going to be tried as adults and put in jails or prison along with them, then, a lot of things can happen. They can learn newer and more heinous crimes from the adults. They can be physically harmed, maybe sexually assaulted by adults.
Yes.
So I agree with Mr. Matthews that we have to take it case by case, and juveniles need to be tried separately, because after all, they are adolescents. And, once they get labeled as a criminal, then their future is absolutely dark. There's no chance for reformation. Like, we are all literature teachers also. We read stories like Bishop's Candlesticks or the story in class 12 book currently. So I feel juveniles cannot be, they have to take it case by case. They cannot be.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think we're all trying to come to this thing only, that we need to take it case by case. But yes, a lot depends on the circumstances. Like what you said, we cannot just rule out certain things. Like that young girl ambassador, our Mannat, said that, since they've done such a sordid kind of a crime, they need to be, it means they knew about it. But at the same time, you're right when you say that once they go to jail, then probably they learn newer, tricks of the trade. And not only that, they could be, like you said, sexually assaulted. And, sometimes it comes from people who we have put on a pedestal. Like, I just heard about the singer, he was a singer of the 90s, but I didn't know that he could do an act like that. So you never know what kind of story comes out from closets. So lots of stories come out, and we really need to take care of our children. We need to teach them how to look after themselves. We need to teach them how to train their minds, because, they're impressionable. And I think a lot of training needs to be done from the very beginning, and we are trying to do it, but we need to still work harder. There's a long way to go. We have miles to go before we sleep, but at least we're aware of it. And that is the point, of having this little discussion here today on the platform, was that at least we need to be reminded of our duties as educators, as adults, as parents, as lawyers, as humanitarians. We need to be reminded of our duty. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much, Ambassador Matthews. And we have with us our Professor Khairuddin from Malaysia. Yes, Professor, what would you like to share about this topic?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Alka. Well, I've been listening to everyone, so I'm not going to go down the legal route, with the data and all that. And just a couple of days ago, I rang up a friend of mine who was a former Chief Judge of Malaya, and I asked him this topic. And you know what he said to me? He said, it depends. So many of us have already said that it depends on the situation and all those sort of things, okay? But I just like to remind, I'm going down from a different route, because on one side, I feel that I have an inclination to agree with the little girl that juveniles should be treated as adults. But on the other hand, after listening to my friend who was a former chief judge, who said that, it depends, I'm also inclined to agree with him. But now, just to get back to all the things that we have been speaking since it's 10:21 here in Malaysia now. It started here, it's 8:30, what do you call it in Malaysia, okay? But it's now 10:21 p.m. In Kuala Lumpur. Now, okay, just to bring back into perspective what we're talking about, I mean, we need to understand, I think many have said it, but I just like to reiterate the point that when you talk about juvenile and juvenile delinquency, okay, what are the factors that contribute to it? So generally, after I Googled, this is what I found. There are basically 8, okay, contributing factors. Number 1, okay, poor school attendance, right? Which is one of the top factors contributing to delinquency. So it involves educators and teachers, okay? That's number 1. And then poor educational standards, which we can see again all over the world. Okay, and then violence in the home, and then violence in the social circles, and then peer pressure, someone mentioned along the way, yeah, just now. And then the socio-economic factors, okay, someone has also mentioned that. And then substance abuse, and number 8, the lack of moral guidance. So again, when I look at what's going on, and I'm just giving me as an example. When I was small, when I was young, my generation, we were in school, what do you call, some of the things that were taught to me, it's with me until today. I'd share with you what my late father said to me. He says, boy, says, if you want money, you ask from me. You don't go to my trousers, take out the wallet, okay, and take the money. I will give you, but you see the learning? Okay, then in those days, I noticed, remember, when I was sent to school, okay, this is what my late father said to the teacher. He says, Cikgu, ya, Bapak Guru, ya, Pak Juari, Dr. Juari, Bapak Guru, ini anak saya, ya. This is my son, okay, I'm giving my son to you. You
can speak Indonesian in Malaysia, ya?
Iya. Saya dari sana, Pak. Nanti kita ngomong kemudian. Okay. Apa itu? This is my son, okay. What do you call? I'm giving it now to you. It is up to you to mold him, to craft him, to become good or to become bad. I leave it to. If he's bad, if he has a tendency to become a juvenile fellow, you need to punish him. You cane him. You do whatever you like. Okay, but as long as you don't break his arm or his leg, or have a cut on his face or his other body, that's okay with me. So that's what that was in 1961. Okay, and that's how the generation that we educate our children. But today, I'm sure you will agree with me. Everything has changed. I remember still when I was young, I was 10 years old. When I wanted to go out, my mom said, just go out, make sure when you come back before the 7 o'clock Maghrib prayers. So by about 5 or 6:30, I was already home, put my bicycle underneath, and I'm home. And she didn't worry anything. I was, doing a hell. I was worse than the juvenile delinquent. I went to the jungle. I went to all the odd places. Now, of course, I didn't commit any crime, but it made me resilient. It made me learn new things. It made me, become, more adventurous. See, and then, but today I notice parents, especially mummies, with all the smartphones, when the children go out, they will say, hey, honey, where are you? They start sending the message, they start calling. And then when they are off to school, and then they will send 3 messages, WhatsApp. By the 3rd WhatsApp, if the daughter or the son didn't respond to the phone, to the WhatsApp, she will pick up the phone and call the police. Hello, Pak Polisi, my daughter or my son is being kidnapped. You see the kind of, that's one scenario. I want to give you another scenario, which is very interesting. Teachers those days, like I went through, they had really the freedom to mold you. But today, when a father, this Gen Y, send their son or daughter, a son to the school, the first thing he will go and see the teacher and say, teacher, may I remind you that my son cannot be put in a very, stifle clothes. Okay, that's one. So you see, at the start already they tell you what you should do and not do with your children. Come on. And then there's another one which I want to laugh, which is interesting. Some teachers come and tell me, they were trying to discipline a student, and they took a plastic, it's a plastic, a small plastic ruler, and then just tap on the child. And the children went home and reported to their mother. Okay, and the mother, what did the teacher do? The teacher hit me with the plastic ruler. Just tap, okay, as a punishment. The next day, the mother and the father, both apparently, Dr. TVS, happened to be lawyers, went to the school. And that's the scenario. I don't know about in India, but that's the scenario. It's probably the same thing also, Dr. Johari, it's also in Indonesia and other countries as well. So you see, the generations have changed. The world has changed, and all this technology has changed. And I think somebody mentioned just now, the young children, the minors, are smarter than we were before. Everything is just on the phone. So this is affecting the way teachers educate their children, and the way the parents to look at their children. And it is affecting a lot of things. I'm sure it is affecting not just the teachers, the educators, it's affecting even the lawyers in their quest in trying to ensure that juveniles, are adequately treated by a proper juvenile court and not be disciplined or be punished by a court that is the same as the adults. So that's my, the points that I wanted to share, after listening to all the esteemed speakers about this topic. That's it. Back to you, Dr. Alka Mahajan.
Thank you, Professor. As always, you were witty and gritty. And those anecdotes that you shared, some of them we can relate with even in India, because the kind of examples that you gave, and it's not only mothers, let me tell you that. It's not only some cases. I must put, that is the only thing different. It's also fathers at times, who are so hyper about their children. So right. School, whether they've reached safely, have they properly. And if the child comes and reports that, my teacher said this to me. Oh, really? How dare she say that? The next day, promptly, they go to school. There's a little argument. All those kinds of things do happen over here also. And yes, at times you're right, because they also negatively, in a way, impact the youngsters, because they know they will get away by saying some kind of untruths, which at that point of time would be just said for the heck of it. But as this becomes a habit, it takes on proportions that are very difficult to manage. Right. That's why certain things happen the way they do, and they should.
Right. Somebody mentioned earlier on about today this social media is the biggest culprit that is causing a lot of people are abusing it, and it's very interesting. I just remembered one of a Gen Y in one of the ministries that I happen to be in the committee.
Social media, Professor, has become a gaslighter.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is interesting. I found, because this lady, when the children goes to school, they're having this phobia. They're always worried, unlike our parents before. And apparently, it seems now they have this gadget that you can monitor them. You can actually put them into their school bag, and they didn't know about it. I said, what? So you see, technology is producing a lot of these things now. Oh my God, you're right. It's a gaslighter.
Think about it. It is. Yes, Mrs. Alka Singh, you want to say something?
I'm so glad that Professor brought up this point, and you also spoke about social media and internet. So my question is, don't you think there should be some censorship or regulatory body of the government looking into what are we showing to our children? Everything is available at the click of a button, and it is damaging the impressionable mind. So there has to be some regulatory body, because, we teachers, parents, we are battling against something which is very, very huge and impacting the young minds a lot. So that's my question. Don't you all think that something needs to be done by the governments
Absolute.
Would you like to direct it? Okay, Professor.
Let me respond immediately.
All right, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
That is something that worries me too, see, because it is a really gargantuan, mammoth problem that the educators are facing. And to control the social media, it is something that governments are also having a headache. We must go back and you must remember when the internet was first invented, what was the intention? Go back and Google and find out why was the internet. The internet was invented because they want to circumvent governance. They want to circumvent government control. Now they have the social media and they are succeeding. So can you imagine? And they are using that media now, globally speaking, okay, to now toppling governments. You can look around now, how many governments already, and the people are rising and the people are believing it. We are living in a post-truth fake news era, but the people believe the fake news more than they believe the true news. When the truth comes out, they say, no, they've already believed the fake news. That's my reaction to you, Ms. Alka-Singh. Yeah, Dr. TPS wants to say something.
Yes, Dr. TPS, please go ahead.
The companies and the people who are handling all these social media are from the richest of the richest. The so-called problems are only with the middle class Asian countries. When I lived 6 months in America, I had a lot of students who used to come and discuss with me physically. They attended my camps. They were with me for 1 month. Now, past 2 years, if I try to contact them through WhatsApp, they are not on WhatsApp. None of the students are on Facebook. That is, even if somebody comes to me for a discussion on Google Meet and then I tell them, come on Google Meet, they will tell we are not on Google, we are not on Microsoft. They don't use any of these, the public softwares where they can connect to people. They have very specific guarded social networking which are controlled by their parents.
Okay.
And they dictate which media you can communicate to them. So they are well protected in those countries. Understand that the level B or maybe third grade countries or the poor countries where their internet usage is only for fake and such useless things. It is because we are not safeguarded. It is not because of the government. It is more to do with the income which we want. How many of us are using non-pirated softwares on our system? If you look at the day Microsoft releases a software, it is available in Delhi, narrow place. So we are not using, we are using all these public free domains which are used for connecting free. I will tell you the best method if government wanted to do this is not that controlling this by. Controlling can be done by many ways. One of the biggest method to control is license every product. I think we will not even discuss like this if it is licensed and charged 10 times than what we are doing today.
Yes.
One way we want everything to be liberal and free. And second, we wanted to control those children only, not parents. You see who is the culprit. If parents don't gift them with a phone, they will not use it. Even the poorest of the poorest, they don't have money to eat ration. See, India is a country where we have all these 5-star cell phones are stored in air-conditioned rooms only. But whereas the food is sold on the footpaths, right? So this is, the footwear is sold in air-conditioned rooms, but food is sold in the footpaths. Understand, this is the pathetic situation because we are poor, we are uneducated, our social system is not very good. We are corrupt from buying every software which we can use free. That is where the problem is. If everything is licensed and then put it into a sequence, I think in any country within that limit will become less. That is where the Genevieve cases, not just because of the punishment, harshness, cutting hand and all that. Most of the Gulf countries, they are very strict in giving internet. You cannot have WhatsApp call. So you can see the number of cases in the young age is very less in all those countries. We have many Indian schools. I visited all the Gulf Indian schools. They are all dedicated to education and the assignments given by teachers, nothing else. Because they don't have facility. The internet facility is very costly, number one. Second one, it is very restricted. You cannot access many of the social media. But then it also restricts parents and adults, not just children. Do you think India can make such a rule? I think government can make a lot of money, but public will start creating problem because politics is run through that, business is run through that, all the bad businesses are also run through that. This is the problem. Social media has to be restricted by high payment, then most of the problems will become less.
Yes, I believe you're right. But what does Ms. Alka Singh say to this? And then we can have our next speaker. We still have 4 speakers to go.
Oh.
So, Ms. Alka Singh, if can I ask our next speaker to say something about the topic? Or do you want to still ask something or say something?
Dr. Alka, please ask the next speaker to speak.
All right, all right. So I have my friend from Canada, the distinguished Toastmaster. He's a published author. He is an international speaker. He's a passionate educator. He's a passionate communication coach. He's a wonderful human being, and he likes to say things loud and proud. So there he is, Ambassador Von Eric Tandock, all the way from Canada. Yes, Ambassador, it's over to you now. Say it loud, say it proud.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. As I'm listening to the different esteemed speakers and I'm getting lots of ideas, I can say that I'm learning. And yes, this topic is very, very sensitive, but it's relevant. Relevant in the sense that we should talk about it. We as educators, teachers, coaches like me, mentors like me, we should have a say on this one. I agree it's very, very sensitive, but we can't deny the fact. One thing that I want to say about this is I heard one speaker and I'm listening to him and he said, it depends. And I agree with that. The speaker from Indonesia said it when he consulted his friend. It depends. Different perspective requires different approach. Different situation.
Malaysia, bro, I correct you, not Indonesia. Bon, Malaysia.
Oh, Malaysia.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I stand to be corrected. It's Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah, I stand to be corrected because I got lots of people here, expert and educators who have something to say about this very important topic. And yes, I'm listening to all of you. But again, my point here is different situation requires different problem. In Canada, this which is very different from India and part of Asia. To be honest, they tried juvenile delinquency here at the age of 14 to less than 18. But below 12, they have a different approach. Now, the question here is, are we going to try and treat juvenile as adult? Well, it depends on the situation. I would like to share a story, my personal experience. I'm known as a distinguished Toastmaster, but few people don't know that I'm a facilitator of youth leadership program. And I'm involved with youth leadership program. I'm teaching them here in my community the art of speaking, the communication, and also confidence building, and also to give them different options. So I teach in school, in university about this youth leadership program. One reason why I have this program, so that to get away the youth to be misguided, so that they will have an approach. And it's very saddening that here in Canada, the number one reason why there is juvenile delinquency is because of course, aside from substance abuse, is the mental issue. And I haven't heard from one of the speakers here about mental issue. Mental issue is very, very sensitive aspect. We all know that Canada is a progressive country, but the truth is there are many homeless people here. Even here in my community alone, a small town of 7,000 people, we have homelessness. And the local government here doesn't know how to solve this problem. It's because homelessness, juvenile delinquency here, it's coming from mental issue. Aside from mental issue, it's the depression. Why are they depressed? I have a personal experience with one of my participants in youth leadership program, and when she's doing her speech, because I require them to have a speech, I call it icebreaker speech. Icebreaker speech is something that you will tell about yourself. And I learned that at the age of 4, her parents separated, they got divorced, and divorce also here are very prevalent. And what happened, that divorce caused a trauma to that child or youth. She's very pretty, but at a young age, she's taking a pill because of depression. So those are the two main reasons aside from substance abuse: mental issue and depression. Well, of course, depression is kind of mental issue, but those two contributes to the juvenile delinquency here. Now the question here, are we going to treat them as an adult? To be honest, I believe that there should be a corresponding punishment so that they will not do it again. But again, different country has different approach. And Canada, being a progressive country, considered a first world country, there's a lot of mental issues and mental health issues as well as depression. And that is different. Now, the one thing that I can say here is probably this is the best thing that we can do. We all know that family is the basic unit of society. It begins at home. Now, as educators, I know most of you are here are educators, doctors, and professors. You are dealing with this. We are part of this delinquency. But everything begins at home. That's why I keep telling this. When you get married, make it sure that you are a complete human being before having a children. Because if you are not happy, you're not complete, you have an issues to yourself, most likely your future children will adopt that, will inherit that, and that will make them undesirable citizens. So everything begins at home. It begins with us. We have to make it sure that we are complete, free of problem, free of issues before we begin a family. And that is one thing that we should teach our children and our students and pupils. We should nurture them. Yes, punishment is needed. Yes, it is needed so that they will not do it again and other children will not imitate or do that. But again, it begins at home. And I know all of you here are good educators, not only to your student, but also to your children. Like Manat, I was happy when she mentioned, it's my mother who told me about the time. So you see, the parents are the number one teachers actually. So it should begin at home. Mental issue and depression are very difficult. And I'm dealing with those many people with my youth leadership program. And that is one cause of homelessness and delinquency here in this small town in all Canada. Because they are not happy. They're not happy at home. They're not happy at school. And because of that unhappiness, we neglect that to be able to solve that, we should make everyone happy. And that includes asking them, how are you? Are you okay? And again, if that will not work, then punishment is the next best thing to do. Over to you, Ma'am Alka, my kaibigan. Thank you for inviting me here, and great to hear all of you here. Thank you.
Yeah, it was lovely to hear your thoughts, because I really wanted to hear your thoughts, because you've been doing this moderation, and I thought that it is about time that we listen to the great distinguished Toastmaster express his thoughts. And you did a wonderful job. And I'm glad you picked up this topic, and you said that, it begins from the family, and the individuals must be complete. I think that was a very powerful point. Don't have children till the time you feel that you can actually handle them, because whatever you are experiencing will somehow, I don't know how, but it just goes on, it passes on to the children. And that's what causes problems, mental health issues, depressions, like you're saying. I feel that when we're talking, every country has their problems and their reasons for, this juvenile delinquency or juvenile, cases. So I feel that, again, but one thing is common. Everything begins with the family. Everything begins with people who care for them. Everything begins with the kind of nurturing and the kind of education they have received. So that was a wonderful take, my friend. And I just loved to hear you and seeing you in this role. But next time, you're back to doing what you always do. So don't think that, you're always going to be here. So thank you, though, on a serious note. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, and I see our friend from Mumbai, Dr. Professor Pratik Mungekar, Pratik Rajan Mungekar. He's a scientist, he's an educator, he's a published author, he is a global speaker, he is an educator, a passionate one, and he is here to share his thoughts as well. And he's a very busy person, let me tell you that. I think he's at another function at this moment. There's no day when he's not at some function or the other. But hello, and thank you so much for joining and being patient. Thank you so much, Dr. Professor Pratik Ranjan. And yes, your thoughts.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Alka, for inviting me here. Actually, I was in one award function, just now came back.
I know, and congratulations for that. A big
Thank you.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. So I'll begin with my topic. So, for me, no, at least for most crimes, I would like to put some different perspective as I am a scientist. So there is a scientific proof that the people below the age of 18 or sometimes more use the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for the emotions, impulses, aggression, and instinctive behavior, rather than their prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic and reasoning most of the time. So while the amygdala is fully developed at birth, the prefrontal cortex does not mature until early adulthood. Because of this, children and adolescents do not always make rational decisions and cannot always control their emotions. So the very reason that juvenile courts were originally created in the 19th century was because society recognized that juveniles did not have the cognitive development that adults had, would benefit more from rehabilitative services to prevent recidivism, and needed for protections. So even if you think a 16-year-old should be smart enough to know full well what the consequences of their actions would be, that is not all there is to be considered. So science disagrees, for one. Moreover, most juveniles are not arrested for violent first-degree murder. The majority of convicted juveniles are arrested for arson, burglary, robbery, motor vehicle theft, legal law violations, drug abuse, vandalism, disorderly conduct, and assaults. Research shows that juveniles are more likely to get into fights. You also have to ask the question, are juveniles who go through the adult court system deterred from future crime? After all, punishments are given to prevent the crime from being committed again, not to hurt someone because he deserves it. Well, a comprehensive review was completed by the, I would like to say one example, by the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, School of Law's Juvenile Justice Project in way back in 2010 July, that reviewed the impact of juvenile cases prosecuted in adult court. So the report, the impact of prosecuting youth in the criminal justice system, a review of the literature, ultimately found that there has been little to no deterrent effect on juveniles prosecuted in adult court. And in many states, recidivism rates have actually increased. So statistics compiled from 15 states revealed that juveniles prosecuted in adult court and released from state prisons were rearrested 82% of the time, while their adult counterparts were rearrested 16% less. Meanwhile, studies have shown that juveniles prosecuted in juvenile court benefit from the services made available to them through that process, as juvenile institutions provide programs and resources specifically designed for juvenile development. So juveniles in adult court often do not have the opportunity to acquire critical skills, competencies, and experiences that are crucial to their success as adults. Rather, they are subject to an environment in which adult criminals become their teachers. So studies also say that juveniles are most at risk of fragile mental health and depression. A large percentage of the factors accounting for juvenile crime are fractured families, peer pressure, physical and sexual abuse, teenage parents, poverty, lack of community involvement in activities, substance abuse, and failure in school, according to recent research and study. So in conclusion, I say juveniles need resources to equip them to succeed when they are released from juvenile facilities, rather than face the devastating effects of being housed in adult prison systems. They should be treated as juveniles in the court justice system with a focus on rehabilitating rather than simply punishing. With this, I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Alka, for inviting me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, once again, a congratulations from all of us to you. I don't know which award you've received, but I know that every other day you are at some function like this, and you are surely one young scientist, author, change maker who is doing a lot of work in his field. So kudos and bravo. And yes, it was a complete scientific take. I would like our friend from Poland, Ambassador Dorota, to perhaps, ask you a question or two and give your point of view on the same topic. So it's over to you, Ambassador Dorota.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for all of the nice talks and insights to this subject. Well, what I wanted to tell you mostly have said it than before, because most of you touched the problems which are already known. So the first thing I would like to tell you, Dr. Pratik, for your insight about science of human brains. Actually, I've been reading right now very nice book. I'm rereading that again about human brain and biology of human behavior. It is quite a big book, but I will tell you this is Behave, Sapolsky, the biology of human brain. Of course, what is this our period of life? There is something what is biology. We can't do much about this. The environment, this is another thing in which we develop, we grow. Parents, there is another field. So I do agree that, of course, parents play a crucial role in developing someone's character. The environment when you are growing up also plays a crucial role in, for example, inheriting poverty or homelessness. These are the things obvious that in some certain families, people inherit from one generation to the next generation poverty or homelessness. They cannot take out themselves from this. What is also important that, of course, we need to have some judicial system to punish those young criminals, because if there is nothing to stop them, they may think that they are not controllable at all. Everything depends on our social background and situation in each country, because the situation can be completely different somewhere in Canada, somewhere in India, somewhere in Europe. And right now, what is happening here in my land? First of all, we observe that a really higher rate of criminals, young criminals, because they are just glued. They are just staring at the smartphone most of the day, doing social media live, performing thereby hatred, reacting to things they may not understand completely, because they know that the punishment is somewhere out of their reach. So they can do it without any logical thought that once they can be just called for a real justice system and get this punishment. This is one thing, that they are exposed to smartphones far too much to their life. And we observed this role of technology within the last 10 years, which completely degraded the family values. It's been constantly deteriorating our family morality or moral standards of life. Parents are involved in earning money, getting from one job to the other, feel insecure, not only because of COVID, they feel insecure because of numerous reasons. First of all, the reason is that even if they get married at fairly old age, like 30 there in Europe, they are not prepared to set up a family. They're not prepared to face problems with finding proper job, to make their ends meet. Whereas, when you've got everything at hand to buy and you don't have enough money to buy it, you are kind of anxious. You feel kind of anxiety. What is going to happen next? Because I want to provide my family with everything, what is the best. I want to take them on holiday. I want to buy the high-tech stuff, everything. And the same we do with our children. We try to create an environment with everything for them. We try to make them happy at any cost. Whereas I read some research recently informing that we shouldn't provide that happiness to our children, because they are constantly in the comfort zone. They don't know how to face everyday problems. They don't know even how to deal with problems in their classroom, because they are still in that comfort zone. Those mothers like helicopter, just dealing with all of this stuff. To be honest, I am not this kind of mother. So maybe I'm that different. But there are numerous problems which are created by our present times. And this is not only the case to put this crime, let's say, to this crime scene into higher or tougher punishment. That this is not the case to increase that punishment in courts, because that will not work. It is like a circle. They are committing more serious crimes, we provide more serious punishment. It does not work at all. We need to stop this as adults, people with some life experience, knowing what's going on around us and reacting, first of all, as parents. If we don't have time for our children, who will do our job? Others. Yes, so the thing is that we must understand basic things, that lack of time for our offsprings, lack of time in communication between people, like in a relationship, create some kind of anxiety, create some misunderstanding, misread and interpreting single words, even in daily life, like doing shopping or in an intimate situation in the evening. You can be misread many times because you just lose this kind of verbal thing. You don't want to communicate, or you don't to learn how to communicate, or you don't want to be kind of self-learner to make your life easier. So there are complex things. I think everyone here in that meeting has got his own interesting insight, and I do appreciate this. It is very nice that this conversation happens there, because we are partly responsible for the things which are around us. We are partly playing a role in that subject, like juvenile delinquency, because those children are growing up on our eyes. We can see them anywhere. I can see them in my secondary school, under some special treatment because depression. I can see that problems in family, we constantly try to be not educators, but kind of family members interacting between parents who are in divorce, grandparents who are looking after children. That wasn't the role of the teacher in the past. The teacher was an educator, someone who provided knowledge. And right now we take this part as a parent. We must care about their post-school activities, after classes, things, all of the things. Even sometimes we are wondering if we sometimes need to provide them proper food, because, for example, in my school, we started some catering with proper food for children. I mean, with salad bar, with kind of hot meals, because we realized that our students come to school without lunch. So something what didn't happen before, because they are 15-year-olds, they should take with themselves packed lunch. And, you know, they are having 8-9 lessons per day without any lunch. That's incredible. So we can see some kind of process of changing in our society, in which we are an active, we are in the center of those things. And the problem is not to change the law. The problem is to change of the society, in what direction we will go. One more thing I would like to tell you, what also makes me feel worried. Our politician recently, this is also a European member, told to Polish people that he is going to reduce the working day to 4 days per week instead of 5. And of course, it looks great, but it isn't that great in real, because it only means one thing, that people will be paid less. So they need to find another job. So if they find another or not find, it is also likely to happen. So their level of aggression, frustration will get even higher. So this is how our social background is created. So sometimes people are not informed what is at the backstage of proper decision, political decision, because people, they don't have this skill to read what this person is trying to tell on TV to people, yes? The messages are that complicated, the language is that complicated to average citizen, so people are not completely aware what is going on around them. And then after that, it is too late. So I could say more, but I think it's not the point to discuss that far. It is very nice to meet you all, people there. Thank you for being there.
Dina, perhaps you can add on to what Ambassador Dorota just now said, and give your take also, because you were also supposed to share your thoughts.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
And maybe we can have a round of, if anybody wants to ask questions, because I'm sure Dr. Prateek would like to ask something from Dorota.
Oh, can I add something?
Yeah, please, Dr. Prateek, go ahead, then I'll express myself.
Okay, okay, please.
Hello?
Yes.
Can I add something? Okay.
Yes, please, please.
Okay. I forgot to mention one of the bigger issues with trying juveniles as an adult is the possibility of them being placed in a dangerous situation. So after the minor charge, they will be stuck in a jail cell with adults, and in the jail and the same, they're exposed to many possible life-threatening situations. So juvenile confined in adult facilities face grave dangers to their safety and well-being, including significantly higher rates of physical assaults, sexual abuse, and suicide than their counterparts in juvenile facilities. So the possibility of something like this happening is very concerning to the public, and it's the main reason so many people are against trying juvenile as adults. So putting minors in jail instead of rehabilitating them like usual could cause them to lose hope. If they lose hope, this could make them become an even worse criminal. And instead of doing small crimes, they could become more violent. They could eventually have the mindset that there is no way to rehabilitate them and that there is no way for them change. Even though the whole point of putting them in jail is to teach them a lesson, it could always have a negative effect and do the exact opposite of what it was meant to do. So everyone makes mistakes, especially at a young age, and sometimes they are pressured into it by someone else. They might have gotten caught up in it with a group of people or pressured into it by friends, or they might have just gotten mad and decided to do it so they could take their anger out. There are many factors to why they committed a crime, but jail could be a little too harsh of a punishment for something so small. So they deserve a second chance. They should get a punishment for committing a crime, but jail is not always the answer. Even adults make mistakes and do stuff they should not do, but minors are still learning what is right and wrong. So I would like to conclude with juveniles should be tried as adults because it helps to show them that there are consequences for their actions. So today's court system also are outdated, and minors commit crimes because they know they will get off easy. If they start actually being punished for the crimes they commit, future crimes could be prevented and the crime rates will lower. So this action could possibly prevent future violent crimes like Sandy Hook and other extremely violent crimes. So adult time for adult crime. So the mantra of the Get Touch on Juvenile Crime Lobby says nothing about the age of the offender except for the fact that it ought to be considered irrelevant. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prateek. I'm going to request Dheera to give her viewpoints and then share her own thoughts. And maybe after that, all of us can take a minute each to say whatever they feel like saying, about what everyone shared. So, and then we will say bye-bye. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. I'll be brief and to the point because I have just a few points which I believe in very seriously and my conviction is very deep. And I would start by saying revenge is a soft option. Punishment is a soft option. It's like, a child breaks a cup and you make him sit in a corner, you send him to his room. It's not a creative thing. It's not creative learning. It's not focusing on the solution. It's focusing on the problem. So I, for one, do not believe in revenge, whether it's punishment, whether it's any other form of definitely punishing the person. But the point is, we have a victim who's suffered, a victim who's gone through immense pain, a victim who has lost his life or her life. What happens? How do we punish the offenders? See, the idea is not to put them in jails. The idea is to make them work extremely hard, to put them in situations where they realize the pain of others, to put them in situations where they have to take a call to do humanitarian work. Because then we are not only teaching them where they went wrong indirectly, we are also awakening their conscience. Some realization is bound to take place when day in and day out they see suffering and they do social work. That's point one. Point two, for a juvenile, when we think about our own children. If my daughter murders somebody, if my daughter commits a heinous crime, would I support the system and say, yes, she should be hanged? I might say it publicly, I might say it on the media, but deep inside, I would still hope she would be forgiven. She would be given another chance. Think of all those children as your own child. It changes the whole perspective. Think of them as your own children. Third thing, what are the causes? Why do children become criminals that have been discussed so far? Financial reasons, peer pressure, problems at home, social media. So each case has to be viewed differently. What the root cause was. Was it mental depression? Was it mental illness? Was it circumstances, what is it, bullying, the causes can be immense, and a proper counselor or a proper psychologist or a proper psychotherapist or a shrink can look into this before the judicial system steps in. Next point, how many of us are taught child psychology, child behavior, child development of the brain? None of us, unless we take it up as a subject, maybe in high school or in college. So if every child knows something about child psychology from the lowest of the classes, from the primary level, he or she might be able to identify her problems and seek help. Most of the times we don't seek help and we become aggressive and it turns into a crime. Next point, Finland has the happiest happiness quotient. Let's focus on the national happiness quotient. If you have happy children all around, the crime rate will come down. It's not about punishing, it's about happiness. Now, another thing which we haven't identified when you say treat a juvenile differently, is the lawsuit going to be simpler, with simpler questions being asked, or is it the quantum of punishment that we are looking at? I mean to say, will the whole procedure be different for the juvenile? No, we won't ask such harsh questions. We'll just ask questions which are diluted, or we are focusing just on the quantum of punishment. Coming to Nirbhaya's case, who was brutally murdered after being raped so brutally. That boy is a cook in South India. He's been given a second chance. But let me tell you one thing. By hanging those 4 people, did it bring closure to the mother and father? I don't think so. As a mother, you are fine, your daughter was brutally killed, but will you rejoice at the hanging of 4 people whose mothers are, and it might create a wave of violence, of crime with their siblings, of revenge with their siblings, their family members. We don't know. It might have a domino effect. And last, as Alka Singh ma'am said, prevention is better than looking at all these things. Let's create happy families. Let's become simpler. Let's simplify our lives. Let's become less materialistic. Let's reduce our wants, because they're not really our wants. They've just been added on as our luxuries, and we pretend they are our wants. Let's go back to the time when we were children, because we are the age group where we had simple lives, simple clothes, simple living. Once simplicity sets in, things will change. Thank you.
You've said it so beautifully, Dheera. And yeah, I mean, every point.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Especially when you were saying about, the way you were saying it, that mother, if I tell my daughter, commit a murder or something, I don't know. There are lots of things and lots of ways to look at it. But yes, you are right that we do create that wave, that wave, that reaction. It becomes a vicious circle. And once that vicious circle is created, it's very difficult to come out of it. Because we just get deeper and deeper into that rigmarole. You get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So we have to put an end somewhere, somehow. And each and every one of you made very, very valid points. And if we could just take what suits us and what will, because there would be different cases, as Professor said, that what were the circumstances, as Ambassador Matthew said, what were the circumstances? So we have to also look into that. But yes, as a final shot, I would like you all to say your last word on this topic before we say bye-bye. And yes, it was really, I mean, we've got a lot of food for thought, but I'm sure everybody would want to have their food as well. So be it dinner time or be it lunchtime for some of us, or be it tea time for some of us. But before that, a parting shot from all of us. And I will begin with Her Excellency, Ambassador Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth. Yes, what would you like to say as a parting shot after hearing all the speakers and maybe adding in your own thoughts?
I think all our speakers have said a lot today. Look at my notes as usual, because I'm a good learner. Yeah. And I personally has picked up few things from there, which is very, very important. I wouldn't like to say much today, but the one key point that I just want us to say is the damage is done. Whoever committed crime has committed crime. The questions we need to move forward with is, where should we start? And I'm glad that we've all said it. We should start from home. We can still make a change, it's not too late. So we can start from individuals. Like me, for example, I will still say there's still a lot I'm working on in me, because I'm not perfect. So if we start from me, myself, then we also progress with family. Because like we all said it here as well, that is the key issue. If the family is divided, if there is no love in the family, if there is no reality in the family, no time to come together, then definitely we will experience all these things that is happening. So my come home point is, it's not too late. And we can individually start something now to prevent another incident to happen for these children. And that is why I'm passionate about the youth. I'm not just only looking at the youth that has already started doing whatever they need to do. They know their portion. I'm also looking at the youth on the streets. I want to have that courage to move closer and have a chat with them. And that is the way we can learn how we can help them as well. Because yes, we are grateful that our children are doing well. Let's put it that way. But then other children, they have parents, and we can also help them too. So even if we cannot get closer to them, to chat with them, to listen to them, let's also pray for them. Because some of them, they're lost, not because of them, but because of what they're going through or what they've gone through. So it's all going to start from individual. And yes, we can make that change. Yes, we can impart into our other people's life. Like I said, we cannot change people, but we can change ourselves to influence our family, our community, our society, and even everywhere we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, and a heartfelt gratitude for the wonderful thoughts shared. And as always, shared in your very charismatic, soothing style, making a deep impact and making us think that yes, and also reiterating one important thing, family. Us, ourselves, how are we? And you know what, the father of our nation said that, it's basically, if we want to change, we need to first change, beginning with our own self. We cannot just make any kind of change, go around, beating trumpets and blowing trumpets and saying that, yes, I am trying to create a change. We have to change ourselves. We have to be the leaders. We have to take that step and step out of our comfort zone. So I guess this is something, this discussion was a huge reminder of that. And I think if all of us are really following and believing that, yes, family as a unit, from the family, we have to actually give that kind of power and solace and confidence to our children to avoid these kind of things. And we have to give them, we cannot say yes to each and every demand of theirs. I think that is also very important, as many of us pointed out, to so that, you know, those future problems that happen are not created. So thank you so much, dearest Queen. And I would like Dr. T.P. Sasikumar also to add some words. Dr. Sasikumarji, please.
I will start where Alka just mentioned, father of nation. Father of nation is considered as a person who propagates non-violence. Yes, Alka?
Yes.
But do you know, Dr. Alka, given an option between violence and cowardness, what would have been Mahatma Gandhi's option?
I'll hear it from you.
He himself said, if a chance is given between cowardice and violence, I will opt violence. We are all running away from our responsibilities. Mahatma Gandhi was never. Do you know, Alka, who can arrest somebody? I take a cue from what Dr. Elizabeth was just mentioning. How do we prevent? Assume that in front of you are seeing somebody going to commit a mistake. You know, next moment it is going to happen. As a citizen, what is the duty we have? How do we prevent it? Do we have the authority to arrest somebody is my question.
Not like you can just report it.
No, Alka, you
about
are
it. We can raise our voice at least.
No. This is the wrong concept which all of us have. We can arrest anyone. Arresting means don't allow them to move from the position.
Okay, yes.
That is the literary meaning. So assume that on a public place or at home or in school, you are feeling that this person is going to commit a mistake. You can physically tie him on a pillar and then keep him there. You have the right to do it to anyone in this world. Anywhere in this world. The law of the land permits you to arrest any other person. That's a legal right in each one of us. We educated people are not aware of it. As a legal person, I'm aware of it. See, when you say prevent, that has a big meaning. When Queen Elizabeth was mentioning, it is our job to prevent. At home, if you feel your son is doing a mistake or he is going to commit a mistake, you can shut him inside the room. You have the right, but you have to report to police immediately as early as possible. But our content is not scientific data and talking about blah, blah, blah. Our content was whether the trial has to be a regular court or it has to be a juvenile court, right? You have to look at this in two different views. Every regular court, I repeat, every regular court trial is offense oriented. The trial is offense oriented. XYZ is not a matter when it goes to adults court. But when it goes to a juvenile court, it is an offender oriented program. The trial is always offender oriented. Got it? So it makes it very clear in the court's view. Judge is very clear. Advocates are very clear. Legal personalities are very clear on this view. Regular court trial, when it is in an adult, it is offense oriented. In a juvenile court, it is offender oriented. So it has to be seen by case by case. There is nothing called a statistics. There is nothing called, it's like actually the thought, the judge's wisdom, which decides whether the punishment is to be given or not. That's what I have to tell. So we have to be aware, including who can arrest a person. I think this is to be taught in every place in this world, saying that if I feel in a bus somebody is going to jump, I have every right to tie him there because it's a crime. Don't allow him to jump and then say that, oh, I was there, I couldn't. When somebody is taking a picture of somebody else which is not to be taken, making a comment, immediately tie him with whatever
you have at hand. Yes.
Possibility you have, and that can be a violence from your side, no problem. Our
we have that.
The father of the nation permitted us to do that. You can
we have that right. Yes, that was powerful. That was empowering what you said just now. Thank you so much for enlightening us from a lawyer's point of view. So Dr. Juari, we have a lawyer with us, and he has given us an insight on that we all have this right, that we can arrest. And arrest, he very beautifully explained it. And I think it was very enlightening, and all of us, I'm sure, got something out of it. Now we just need to have that courage to do it and not just sit there twiddling our thumbs, doing nothing, saying, oh, I couldn't do anything. I guess that was the point that Dr. Sasi Kumar wanted to make. So thank you so much. I will keep it in mind, and I'll share something if I have.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Dr. Juari. Yes.
Yeah. I will listen to you. Okay. You said you will suggest. Yes. I listen to you. I wait for you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Professor Khairuddin, please. Are you there?
Unmute, sir.
You need
Sorry. Okay. I am, like I said earlier on, I come from, I'm still old school. I come from the school of what you call spare the rod and spoil the child. So after all the discussions, after all the things that we have heard, punishment, I still believe that some form of punishment needs to be in place. That's my parting shot for what we're discussing today. Yeah. Back to you, Dr. Alka.
Fantastic as always, succinct and point. Thank you so much. And what about our Toastmaster? Yes, Toastmaster. Yes.
To my friend, my kaibigan, thank you. Well, thank you for having me here. Well, my parting shot is this one. I read this theory where there is juvenile delinquency, and one theory that I saw is the anomy theory written by Robert Turton in 1940s, and it says here the reason why there is juvenile delinquency is because of unhappiness. So children are unhappy in their childhood, in their family, in their surroundings, in their environment, and that affect them. And they will make mistakes. They will commit crimes because of unhappiness. That is theory. And again, theory is debatable, right? In the perspective of law, in the perspective of educators, that is debatable. But one thing is true here. One person is happy will going to create or going to get attention. And that attention, unfortunately, is doing crime. So unhappiness is one thing that it's within self and we can't control it. If one person is unhappy and he commits crime, it's very difficult to solve that problem. The only thing that we can do in the perspective of law is to try them in court. So that is my parting shot. That theory of unhappiness, or the so-called anomy theory by Robert Turton in 1940s, that is one reason why there are juvenile delinquencies. Over to you, dear Alka, ma'am.
Thank you for sharing that book. I'm sure in our next monthly reading club, we will try to do a good read of that book and maybe share some further thoughts on it. I think you should moderate that session because you have already read the book and we have yet to read it. So thank you so much. Maraming Salama, thank you. And now we have Dr. Juari, would you want to say something now? Are you ready? Or can I ask my friend? Okay,
thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, well, in some cases, we are ready as and responsible for solving this problem. And I also agree that it's not from me. If me is done together to all of any profession, any individual yeah, then I believe it will be very successful. Yes, me here is not only me in this forum, but also me for all individuals, especially who are related to this problem. And therefore, in that case, we are obligatory to be responsible to do me as our profession, and therefore we can also try to prevent. Preventive is better than curative, and then therefore I believe in the suggestion of preventing. Yes. And how about the punishment done by the lawmakers and the judge or the government related to the court here? That is their profession, and they have to also do the me, yeah, me based on their perspective, but related to this the same problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And again, wonderfully said. And I have my friend Dorota. Dorota, would you like to, a last parting shot, please? I had my friend Sister Mehreen join. I think she got logged out again. All right. Yes, Dorota?
I've got a very simple idea at the end of the meeting. Well, I think we just need to take our children into our life more. We need to do more things together, show them life we are living. And if we do most of the things together, we show them the basics of life, then the discussion starts about different things, even about how they grow up, what is getting on with their body, about relationship, anything. So I think this is the most important thing, to take our children by hand to our problems, but maybe not that serious way, but just explaining them things, how they are going on. Then they don't feel that anxious, they don't feel that unhappy, because they will see that their parent is not some kind of god, goddess, but also a human being. And then they'll learn how to deal with their problems. This is my idea. Thank you.
That's a wonderful take, making our children more a part of our life. We need to spend time with them more. We need to do things together with them more. I think this is the very basic thing that you have said. And I think somewhere down the line, we do forget. When we get so engrossed in other things, when our diversions start, I think that's the time when we start, maybe forgetting certain things or taking certain things for granted. But yes, what you said was very powerful, very right. I know you have your daughter. Yes, we said hello to her last time. So our love.
This is my son, actually.
Oh, your son. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I've got a third daughter. So
wonderful, wonderful.
Both of them are there. Wow, fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So to each and every one of you, a big thank you. But before I say thank you, I would like to hand it over to Ambassador Dheera for the vote of thanks.
Once again, good evening, everyone. This session was absolutely stimulating intellectually. It was excellent. I don't have the right words to express myself, but each of our distinguished guests, the panelists, provided such thought-provoking, such moving sentiments to the topic that it has given us food for thought, not only for tonight, but for a long, long time to come. And we are actually the ambassadors of change. We are actually the ambassadors of transformation. And with this deep discussion, with the thoughts that you shared with all of us, we have to build upon it. We have to move forward and take this discussion to another level with certain topics that are connected. So I thank each one of you for your precious time, for spending these 3 hours, 3 wonderful hours with us, and for sharing your deepest, innermost insights and thoughts. And yes, we can do it. We can bring a change. Let's start now. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Alka, for this awesome opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, so very much, my friend. You were amazing as always. And you forgot to mention about our magazine. maybe you can just tell them all to share something because we're still working at it. So,
we have our e-magazine called the CHILPARCO International Magazine. We bring it out every 2 months or 3 months, depending on what the situation is. You know, when there are children with examinations, maybe they're not able to write so much. So we request you for this month's issue, kindly write on any topic or on parenting or any topic which is close to your heart. We are most welcome. The word limit is 500 words, and we'd love to get your photograph along with your professional description, your professional title and description. And we would love to publish your article in our forthcoming e-magazine July issue. Thank you.
Yeah, the magazine is called Tenacity.
Tenacity, yes.
Thank you so much, Dhira, for those inputs, for everything.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. And our matron, please, we would like to have some words from you, some precious words from you as well. Our Excellency, Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth, with her ever beaming smile.
I thought I just shared the random.
So you want to, like you always say, thank you, thank you. So I wanted you.
Okay. I'm at your service. I'm always at your service. Enjoy serving.
That is
right,
so sweet.
Right. Yes, we've come to the end of this program. And I really want to say thank you. Let me first of all start from my mentor, because I'm proud to be a mentee and to learn, because ever since I've connected with my mentor, I have seen some transformation in my life. I have seen, because he's a professor, he's teaching a lot and he's sending it to me. I'm listening, I'm watching, and I'm also sharing it with others so that they can learn. So I want to say thank you so much for sitting down patiently for 3 hours. Thank you, sir, because CHILPARCO International is also my family. So everyone that spent their time to sit down patiently and contribute and also inspire us and teach us and add value to us, we do not take it for granted. So thank you so much for being here. I also want to express my gratitude on behalf of CHILPARCO with Professor FCLT. I don't know what that one is.
Professor Khairuddin.
Right. Professor, thank you so much, sir, for your contribution today. There will always be wisdom in everything you're sharing. I believe this is my third or the second time I've listened to you. Thank you, sir. All your wisdom is really valuable and has added value to us today. I also want to say thank you to Dr. Juweri from Indonesia. Thank you, sir, for adding value to us and also increasing our knowledge, especially in the areas of legal or law or whatever we can call it. I also want to express my gratitude to Dr. Dorota EU. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your enlightenment and how you've really increased our knowledge, because that is what this platform is all about. We don't want to go to a platform where at the end of 5 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour, and then somebody said, what have you gained? And then you say, oh, they spoke a lot. But what have you gained? That's the question. What have you understand by what they've shared there? Because it's very important that we I got my idea too. And some in my heart. So I want to say thank you, ma'am, Mrs. Dorota, for your valuable contribution. Oh, I like that smile. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to Dr. Eric from Canada. Yes, they said you are Toastmaster, but you are a great, great leader and a great, great, great motivational speaker. I've learned a lot from you. And I want to say thank you for being with us. We learn together, we're growing together, and we can make an impact together into other people's lives. So, why did I leave? Well, I haven't finished yet. Let me also express all our gratitude and mine personally to Dr. Dira. Thank you, ma'am. You are doing a great job for us at CHILPARCO International.
Thank you.
All
Thank
your
you.
inputs are very valuable. They are so special. You spent your time in everything you're doing for us, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
And even to round up this teaching today was amazing. Amazing. I wouldn't have done that. So that's a special gift. So once again, thank you for being there. Now, finally.
Thank you, Elizabeth sister. A big thank you to Alka for inviting me.
That's what I want to say. Finally. Dr. Aika Mahaja, the one and only one, the global communicator, the woman of now, the fire refiner. You cannot come to our platform and be the same. You know, then connection and transformation. So I want to say thank you, ma'am, for making yourself available to create this platform for us to shine, for us to share, for us to learn, for us to grow. I want to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for honoring me and my husband as the patron and matron of.
Yes.
Thank you for holding. Yes, you can. Because when you are there, you just take over.
Yes, we can together. And we can together, you know, all of us, we can push each and every one of us to make us realize that, you know, each and every one of us is unique, unstoppable, and unbeatable. So we are powerful individuals, and we all believe in the power of sharing, caring, and loving one another. I think it starts like that. We're spreading smiles by encouraging one another, by being appreciative of one another. The words that were spoken, everybody had a powerful point of view. And I just loved each and every word that was shared on the platform today. Thank you so much, Dr. Sasi Kumar. Thank you so much, my dearest queen, dearest friend Dhira, my dearest Toastmaster friend, my dearest friend from Europe, Dorota, our humorous professor from Malaysia, and the very, very, what do you call it? The logical and, you know, perceptible, my God, I'm just individual with words. Dr. Perceptible, that's the word I wanted to say. Well, thank you once again to each and every one of you. And just 2 lines, decide what you believe and then believe that. Believe it so much to make it happen, because yes, you can. You are unstoppable, you are unbeatable, and you are unique. With those words, hasta mañana till we meet again.
Thank you.
Something more essential to make all of us unique.
Thank you. Goodbye. Good luck.
Goodbye,
Thank you,
good
everyone.
night, good luck. Take good
Great
care of
session.
yourselves.
Enjoyed it
Stay
immensely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dhira.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr. Alka. Thank you, Professor
Thank you,
Lucas.
Dr. Juari. You
Yeah,
are wonderful.
thank
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Professor
so much.
Lucas.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Dearest Queen. Thank you.
Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
from Malaysia.
Thank
And
you so
also
much.
from
Bapak Dr. Juari.
That has been Doctor, teacher, parents, TDS.
Understand that.
Thank you.
But we understand the language of humans, which is love. So we understand what you've said. Thank you once again.
Yes,
And
thank you.
take good care of yourself. Stay happy and stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's you and me. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
We are family and always be. And this is all going on records. So let the whole world know. With that, love, and more love to you and our parents, our king. Love to him, respect to him, regards to him. And thank you so very much.
We love you. We love you. We love your king. We love the CHILPARCO family. We love everyone. Thank you.
You so much.
For
So
being
wonderful
there.
to see you.
Thank you.
It's nothing like the real thing.
Yes. God bless. Bye-bye. Stay
Bye-bye.
and
God
take
bless
care of the family. God bless.
Okay.